circle annual meeting between the Hoosiers of Indiana and the fourth-ranked Michigan Wolverines.
Today's Big Ten Conference game from Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor is brought to you by Highland Superstores. Highland, everything you never expected from an appliance store with everything you need to make your sports viewing more enjoyable. And by Stroh Light, the circle of sports beer.
Hi, everybody. This is Larry Osterman along with Dennis Franklin. Welcome to this afternoon's homecoming game at Michigan Stadium. Again, 105,000 fans on hand on an absolutely perfect afternoon. The chore in store for the Wolverines is to bounce back from a disheartening loss at Iowa.
Well, a couple of things, Larry. First of all, the goal for the team this year was to get to the Rose Bowl in the Big Ten Championship. And if you can't bounce back from last week's defeat, first of all, the players feel like they should have won that game. And they know that in order to get to California, they've got to win this afternoon. And on such a gorgeous day like today, if you don't want to play today, you're in trouble.
Well, it'll be a tough test. Indiana got off to a fast start. Last two games have gone into the loss column.
That's true, but they've played Michigan very well here in particular. Last year, if you recall, the score was 14-6, so it was a real close game. And Coach Bill Mallory is expecting to play Michigan tough again today.
The Hoosiers offer a balanced attack, both passing and rushing, and their tailback, Bobby Howard, is one of the fine ground gainers.
That's absolutely correct. They're between the two backs, they're second in the Big Ten Conference in rushing. Damon Swayze is the other back there, number 4, and I expect both of them to try to have outstanding days, and I expect Indiana to rush quite a bit.
Indiana also offers two very fine ends. Kenny Allen, you'll hear a lot about him. He is a split end. Their tight end is a fella that has a name that is very familiar around these circles.
Dave Lilja, who is the brother of George Lilja. And George now, he used to be the All-American center here at Michigan a few years ago, and he now plays with the New York Jets. But back to Dave, he's Indiana's second leading receiver right behind Kenny Allen. He has like 32 receptions, and he's number 1 in the Big Ten at the tight end position. So I expect them to throw the ball to him as well.
Michigan, of course, has had sensational defensive play all year long, and one of the fellows that has anchored it is the inside linebacker, Mike Mallory.
Well, Mike is playing against his father today, which is a very unique situation for any player. I expect him to be up and be ready to go, and I understand that he always talks to his father every week, and I don't think they communicated very much coming into this game. But one thing we want to point out, Mike has broken his right finger, so you'll see a cast on his arm today, but I'm sure he'll be in there plugging up a few holes.
We talked about Indiana's fine ends. Michigan has some of their own, including the big fella at the split end position, Paul Jokic.
6'8", good speed, Michigan's leading receiver. I expect that if Michigan is going to throw the ball today, that they've got to get it to Paul Jokic. It's one of the criticisms that the fans had against Bo in his performance last week against Iowa was the fact that they didn't feel Jokic got the ball enough. So I expect to see him throw the ball to him quite a bit as well.
Well, we hope you'll stay with us. Michigan and Indiana coming up in just a moment. You're watching Pro-Am Sports at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, where it's a perfect afternoon for homecoming 1985. The toss of the coin has just taken place. Michigan has won the toss, elected to wait till the second half to make a decision. Indiana has elected to receive and will defend the goal to our right. So Michigan will have the wind at its back. It's a breeze coming out of the southwest at about 15 miles per hour here this afternoon. The Hoosiers coming onto the field, and in just a moment, the Wolverines will explode from the tunnel on the far side, and this huge homecoming crowd of 105,000 will be on its feet. Now, you've been involved in a number of these homecoming games as a participant and now as an alumnus. It's a special day, isn't it?
It's very special, Larry. It's always nice to come back and see the guys that you played with or either played before you or since even. And sometimes it's even nice to say hello to some of the coaches that, that are still here when I played. It's always nice, of course, to see Bo. But I've talked to him, try to keep in contact with him on a regular basis. But some of the other coaches I don't get a chance to see. But it really is a special event, and I'm very fortunate to have been involved here, really.
You couldn't ask for a better day. 54 degrees, wind blowing out of the southwest at 11, and there's not a cloud in the sky in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The Wolverines trying to bounce back after the disappointing loss at Iowa last week, are currently tied for third in the Big Ten with a 2-1 win-loss record overall. The Wolverines are 5-1. Indiana coming in tied for sixth in the Big Ten. They are 1-3 in the conference at 4-2 overall. But the quality of competition early was not good for Indiana, beating Louisville, snapping that 16-game winless streak, coming back with a victory over Navy, Missouri, and then beating Northwestern. But the last two times out, Dennis, they played at Ohio State. They were crunched, and they were beaten badly by Minnesota. So Coach Bill Mallory has to bring this team back.
That's very true. But, you know, you're talking about two of the toughest opponents in the Big Ten in Ohio State and Minnesota, two teams of which Michigan has to play themselves. So, you know, you can't really judge this team having not played or having played those two teams. You don't really know how good they are. So we'll find that out today.
Here are the officials for today. Referee Ortho Courts. Dan Davey is the umpire. The head linesman Jim Keel. And the balance of the crew working this afternoon's Big Ten game at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. The Wolverines will be kicking off. It'll be Rick Sutkowitz to be booting the football. And the deep man for Indiana is Damon Swayze. He's standing at the goal line in the middle of the field. Ernie Jones is on the far side at the 5-yard line. And Spud Washington is on the near side. He has also moved back to the goal line. So we're about ready to get underway on a perfect afternoon. Glad you could be with us as Rick Sutkowitz will kick off. He'll have the breeze at his back, so he should be able to get a boomer away to get this 1985 homecoming game underway. It's a long drive going deep into the end zone. It's fielded there by Spud Washington, and he elects to down the ball. It'll be brought out to the 20-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for Bill Mallory's Hoosiers. Mallory, in his second season as the head mentor of the Indiana Hoosiers. He is a graduate of Miami of Ohio, spent 4 years at Northern Illinois, 5 each at Colorado and Miami. Steve Bradley, the quarterback. He's a senior from Knox, Indiana, and you can see the statistics that he has had this season thus far. Brings the Hoosiers to the line of scrimmage for the first play of the afternoon. He sends the man in motion to the far side. The handoff going to Bobby Howard, and he dives for about 2, just going over the middle. Billy Harris, the junior middle guard from Xenia, Ohio, making the tackle. They'll punt the ball at the 21.5-yard line. So it's a gain of 1.5 yards, and it'll be 2nd down for Indiana. It'll be Poles, Howard, Dawsey, Allen, and Lilja offensively for the Hoosiers. Up front, it's Riley, Radke, Canary, Schrader, and Eric Moore. On 2nd down, again, it's Howard spinning forward, still on his feet. He's out to the 35, and he is hauled down from behind at the 39-yard line by Ivan Hicks. Bobby Howard showing a little of his explosiveness as he hit the line of scrimmage, did a 180, and then spun further and got all the way up to the 39-yard line for a 1st down for Indiana.
Larry, he doesn't look very big at 6 feet tall, 200 and some odd pounds, but you'll see good power, good movement, and good strength in his legs there as he tries to break away for the big gainer. Howard came into this game a couple of weeks ago against Missouri. He had 111 yards rushing, so he's capable of going over 100 easily.
Howard trying the left corner, steps out of bounds, but a flag is down. He was out of bounds at the 47-yard line. The flag was thrown back at the 40-yard line, which may indicate a clip or a hold. It is going to be a holding call against the Hoosiers. Will nullify the play by Bobby Howard. Howard, a senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, averages 5.2 yards per carry. But it'll be a 5-yard walk-off against IU, which will move the ball back to around the 30. It's going to be back to the 29-yard line as a result of the hold. And it'll be 1st down and 20. And the linebackers for the Wolverines, Scarcelli, along with the Mallory and the Moeller and Akers. It's Messner, Harris, and Mike Hammerstein up on the forward wall. 1st down and 20 yards to go. And again, it is the tailback Bobby Howard hit behind the line of scrimmage at the 25-yard line as Mike Hammerstein came in from the defensive tackle slot and nailed him. And they'll place the ball at the 26. Defensively for the Wolverines, Garland, Rivers, along with Tony Gant, Ivan Hicks, and Brad Cochran. As the defensive unit breaks away from the line of scrimmage, Doug Mallory has come into the ball game now for Michigan. As Stacey Dawsey comes wide to the right as a split right end. Bradley on the keeper finds some running room. He is across the 35, still on his feet out to the 39, may have reached the 40-yard line where Garland Rivers nailed him. Garland, a junior from Canton, Ohio, picked up about 10 on the carry and gets the Hoosiers back to the original line of scrimmage. It's marked at the 40.
Great job of improvising here by Steve Bradley, the quarterback. And he's no stranger to running the football. He's carried the ball 48 times already this year, Larry, for 253 yards and an average of 3.8. And that time, he came very close to picking up excellent yardage for his team. Now they face only a 3rd and 10 instead of long yardage.
Jones is split to the right as Bradley retreats, looks, dumps it off to the right side, completes the pass at the 34-yard line. He comes out to the 45, and he is dropped there. Tackle made by Reinhold after a gain to the 45, but it's short of a first down by about 3, and it'll bring up 4th down situation.
Steve Bradley gives up a lot of yardage here on the screenplay, and it was really read very well by Jeff Akers, number 33, who causes the center, Dave Kinnery, the center from Indiana, to block on him. And once the defensive support got over there, they came up short by 4 yards, and they'll have to kick.
Straczynski gets a fine boot away, forcing Eric Campbell to allow the ball to drop, and it'll be a good Indiana bounce. It'll be down at the 3-yard line. Campbell thought the ball was going to the end zone, but it took reverse English and downfield very quickly following the 49-yard punt. To down the ball was Jeff Wade for Indiana. So the Wolverines will start from very deep in their own territory. It'll be the 3-yard line. Very fine punt by Dan Straczynski. Straczynski averaging 41 yards per kick. Got a 49-yarder away against the wind. Paul Jokic is split wide to the left on first down for the Wolverines as Jim Harbaugh steps underneath the center, and he hands the ball to Gerald White, who goes straight up the middle across the 5 to about the 7-yard line. Brad Mitchell made the tackle. Mitchell is the #1 tackler on this Indiana team in both solo tackles and assists. Wolverines backfield composed of White, Morris, and Campbell, with Jokic and Caddis as the split and tight ends respectively. Up front is Elliott, Vitale, Tabachino, Krause, and Miller. Gerald White steps up as the fullback, and Harbaugh sends Colasar in motion to the right. Harbaugh back to throw in his own end zone. Flips it out, completes it on the right side to White. He is hit at the 15 and struggles forward, lost the ball, and Indiana recovers. Maybe the whistle had sounded. We'll see. Nope. It's going to be Indiana's football at the Michigan 19-yard line. Leonard Bell, I believe, was the man that wrapped himself around it. Gerald White was really nailed and coughed it up.
Here's a flood pattern with Harbaugh rolling to his right. He's got 3 people in the pattern. Colasar, tight end Jokic, and Morris coming out of the backfield. And that time, Jamie Morris just gave it up. He's being gang tackled. You see 44 right there to cover it. Another look. Jamie Morris right there. Now he's going to be gang tackled. He's got to put that football away, and he was trying to continue downfield. I'm sorry, check that. It was Gerald White who actually fumbled the ball, 22.
Bobby Howard struggles inside the 15 to about the 14-yard line following the recovery of the Michigan fumble. A gain of about 5 yards, and Indiana is looking in good shape. They'll actually give him 6 yards to the 13-yard line. Andy Moeller came up from his linebacking post and made the tackle on Bobby Howard. So Indiana is looking at a 2nd down and a short 4 yards to go for the first down.
Howard's picking up good yardage, Larry. He's already got 22 yards and 4 carries.
Bilges switches from right to left as a tight left end. The handoff again going to Morris across the 10, and Howard is down to the 5-yard line. Tony Gant made the tackle for the Wolverines. So the Hoosiers have found a little bit of running room on the left side of that offensive line and just kept pounding.
There you see Bobby Howard going off tackle, using his blockers well, cutting inside, picking up good yardage.
The ends are tight for Indiana on 1st and goal, and a big pileup. Howard may have recovered it back at the 11-yard line. It'll be second down back at the 11 for Indiana as Howard spotted the loose football and dived in to grab it for the Hoosiers.
Center quarterback exchange. Here you'll see Bradley never gets the ball. He actually pulls out, and the center, Kennery, snapped the ball short of his hands, and it just kind of bounced back underneath Steve Bradley's legs. And Bobby Howard was fortunate enough for Indiana to find it and recover it.
Second and goal for the Hoosiers, who are now on the Michigan 11-yard line. Bradley gives to his fullback, Howard, and he is hit at the 11. Mike Hammerstein came up and made the tackle for no gain, so it'll be third down and goal from the 11-yard line. Billy Harris was also in on the tackle. Ernie Jones checks into the backfield for the Indiana Hoosiers. He operates as a wide receiver. Michigan has allowed just one touchdown so far this season.
Larry, Ernie Jones is their third leading receiver, and he's their leading pass catcher in a situation like this.
Bradley being chased, cuts upfield to the 10, and he is driven out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Mike Mallory was over to make the hit, and it'll set up a field goal situation for Indiana. That bad snap and handoff really cost the Hoosiers.
Excellent pursuit this time by the Michigan defense. The linebackers are stringing out the play, not allowing Bradley to cut upfield, but just move laterally across the field and not really picking up any yardage. And this will be a tough field goal, tough angle.
Very tough angle. It'll be a 25-yard attempt by Pete Stoyanovich, who thus far this season has hit 5 out of 9. There's the snap, the spot, the kick is up, and it is good. So Indiana puts the first points on the board, scoring with 9 minutes, 6 seconds left in the opening quarter. Following the Michigan fumble, marched downfield, got a first down, but then the Hoosiers themselves, with a bad exchange between Dave Canary and Steve Bradley, are forced to settle for 3 when it looks as though they might be marching for 6.
They were certainly moving the ball, and Larry, we noted that they come in here to this particular game second in the Big Ten Conference in rushing, and I think nobody is going to question their ability to run the football after this first series.
They're averaging 222 yards per game in the rushing department. That not only is second in the Big Ten, it's 15th in the nation. They, as we mentioned earlier, have a very fine balance in throwing for 215 yards for a total of 437 per ball game, which ranks them third in the Big Ten and 8th in the country. Well, the Wolverines fall behind early, 3-0. 9:06 left in the opening quarter here at Michigan Stadium on homecoming afternoon. Pete Stoyanovich, who put the Hoosiers on the scoreboard, will be kicking off for Indiana. Wolverines discussing things at the 30-yard line. Will have the breeze at their back with a hope of getting a little bit better field position than they had in their first series of downs. Stoyanovich ready to kick off. Wolverines have 2 men deep. Jamie Morris on the far side, and it looks like John Colasar in the near. They're standing at the 1-yard line. Stoyanovich kick high and end over end and deep. Colasar is back in his own end zone and decides, whoa, he came out. He's going to have to bring it. Nope, the official is going to down the ball at the 1-yard line. They say his knee touched the ground there. I don't think his knee touched the ground. The only thing that I can determine is that he took his foot out of the end zone and then placed it back, or his knee was inside the end zone. Perhaps we can see on the replay.
Well, you'll get a chance to look at it right here. See what he does. He didn't touch down there.
No.
He comes out and touches down. There it is.
There it is.
Good call. You'll see it here, John Colasar. You know, this really reminds me of last week when we were up doing the Michigan State game. The same kind of play in the second half. I can't recall the young man's name, but he fumbled the ball out of bounds at about the 1-yard line and made the same type of mistake, and it really hurt Michigan State last week.
Hoosiers linebackers Ford, Bates, Mitchell, and May, and the Wolverines again start very deep in their own territory. Harbaugh gives to Morris. Fumble the football, and Indiana recovers it at the 3-yard line. Mitchell, I believe, made the hit, and Bell made the recovery. So the Hoosiers get another big break, and will have it first and goal at the Wolverines 3. Holy smoky.
Absolutely no excuse for this. Here, a good tackle on Jamie Morris, but he fumbles the ball, and number 44, Leonard Bell, once again, I think that's his second fumble recovery already. Indiana's really got a chance to put some points on the board here.
Now the vaunted Michigan defensive unit will be called upon to put up another goal line stand now. Ernie Jones goes wide to the left. Bradley, the quarterback, turns, fakes the handoff, pitches back, and it's a touchdown as Damon Swayze went roaring in untouched on the right side, and Indiana scores the second touchdown against the Wolverines this season and lead by a score of 9-0 with 8:55 left in the opening quarter. Well, it's a stunner here in the early moments of this game at Michigan Stadium as Indiana takes advantage of 2 Michigan turnovers and have marched in. A field goal, and now Stoyanovich will attempt to put the 10th point on the board for Indiana. Ball will be spotted by DeWitt. Got away from him. DeWitt chases it down. He's looking to throws to the end zone, and it's incomplete. It was right through there, and the flag is down. Right through the intended receiver's hands. Carlos Marti was open, and it looked like it was going to be 2, but it sailed right through his outstretched hand, and as a result, fell incomplete. So it remains 9-0. Indiana leads with 8:55 left in the opening quarter.
Keep in mind, Larry, this touchdown is the first rushing touchdown allowed by Michigan this season, and it's a good one down the field. An option by Bradley, and he pitches back to Damon Swayze for the touchdown, number 4.
Well, Indiana has had trouble getting its offensive attack going in the last couple of games. They were limited to a touchdown against Minnesota and also at the hands of the Ohio State Buckeyes. They put one up quickly here in the first quarter.
You know, we talk about that being the first rushing touchdown against the Michigan defense, but they still haven't allowed an extra point.
I'll tell you, you're really scratching the bottom of the barrel now, my man.
It's early. It's early.
Well, the Wolverines hopefully will get some decent field position now as we try it again. Indiana kicking off. It'll be Eric Campbell and Jamie Morris as the deep men. Morris on the near hash mark. A 5-yard penalty has been assessed to Indiana as a result of the penalty on the try for what turned into a try for a 2-point conversion. And as a result, Stoyanovich will be kicking from the 35 rather than the 40. Nine to nothing. Indiana leading Michigan. 8:55 left in the opening quarter before a stunned house here in Ann Arbor. Stoyanovich kicks. A line drive will be fielded by Morris at the 1. Up the middle he comes, and bang, he's hit at the 20 and shoved forward onto the 26-yard line. Tackle made by Rob Van Vliet. So finally, the Wolverines get a shot at operating out of some decent field situations. They have, the first 2 times, been very deep in their own territory, and they've not really given Jim Harbaugh much in the way of opening the playbook. Harbaugh checks in now. It'll be first down and 10 for the Wolverines at the 26.5-yard line. Jokic goes to the right as a split right end. Campbell is split to the left. Now Caddis comes over and sets as a tight left end for the Wolverines as Harbaugh takes a look at a 5-man front. Pitch going back to Wilcher. Trying to get outside, got a block, but he is nailed at the 29-yard line and bulldogged down at the 29 with a tackle made by David Lilja, who came up from his tight end position. Thomas Wilcher carrying the football for about 3 yards. It'll be second down and 7.
And keeping with policy, Wilcher is in the game because Jamie Morris fumbled on the last series, and it's nothing unusual. We've seen it before. I don't expect Morris to be back for a few series.
Campbell is split to the left. Jokic to the right. On 2nd down and 7. Harbaugh back to throw. Has time. Dumps it over the middle. Completes it to White. He's out to the 40-yard line, the 41, and it's a first down for the Wolverines. Just a very simple crossing pattern as Jim Harbaugh hit White right in the numbers. Rob Schmidt made the tackle at the 40.
Here's an isolation on Gerald White, number 22 right there. It's called the old fullback delay. You wait for the linebacker coverage to come up, and then you just sneak across the line of scrimmage, wait for the quarterback to dump it to you and pick up as much as you can. In this case, enough for a first down.
White has a couple of catches now for 20 yards early in this game. Harbaugh has Jokic split to the left. He turns and gives to his tailback, Gerald White, who goes across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. Stacked up there by Mike McCurry, the very fine middle guard for Indiana. He's from Indianapolis. A junior at 250. A gain of a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Wolverines, with all between the 42 and 3-yard line. Jokic comes wide to the left. Flanker to the right is John Colazar. He's in motion down to the long side of the field. Harbaugh fakes the handoff. Parallel to the line of scrimmage. Reverses. He's got 2 blockers there. He's at the 45-50. He's at the 45 with a big move, and down he goes at the Indiana 41-yard line. Joe Ford made the tackle on Jim Harbaugh, and while it may have looked like a broken play, it almost looked like it was a design play.
Well, he did it so well, it looked like it was designed, but trust me, he had nothing over there, and he really improvised and created all of this by the good speed that Jim Harbaugh possesses. And you're talking about a big key play. That's something that Michigan really needed. Now they got a first down, and they seem to be back in charge.
Colazar comes wide to the left with Jokic as the split right end on first down at the Hoosier 41-yard line. Jimmy Harbaugh straight back to throw. Looks. He's throwing downfield, and it's caught beautifully by Caddis at the 9-yard line. Leonard Bell made the tackle on Eric Caddis, who made a great catch leaping high into the air, and he was dropped at the 9, where it's 1st and goal for the Wolverines.
And a great pass this time, and a great catch by Jim Harbaugh. What's happening, Indiana runs a 2-deep zone, and you're going to see this a lot where they send a tight end or a receiver down the middle because they'll have a two-deep zone. And basically what Michigan did there was split the zone, hit their tight end down the middle. Caddis, the second leading receiver on this football team, comes up with another big catch.
Jimmy is now 3 for 3 for 53 yards through the air this afternoon. 1st and goal for Michigan. Pitch coming back. Jamie Morris found a huge hole on the left side, and it's 9-6. Gillette will attempt to make it a 9-7 game as he attempts the conversion. Ball is down, kick is up, and it's good. And the Wolverines, after being stunned by 9 quick Indiana points, come roaring right back and march right down the field following the kickoff, with Jamie Morris going the final distance to get the Wolverines on the scoreboard. With 5:58 left to be played in the first quarter, it's Indiana 9 and Michigan 7. Well, a sterling drive by the Wolverines brought this big crowd at Michigan Stadium back into the ball game.
And Larry, sometimes it takes nothing short of reality in terms of getting this team pumped up, because they obviously were flat. Here you look at Jamie Morris making excellent cuts, good blocking up front, but I thought the cuts was the reason why they picked up the touchdown. Jamie Morris, who is the leading rusher coming into this football game, and he's just short of 600 yards rushing. And you'll see here once again a good block right there by Jokic, number 84. And there's another block up inside. I didn't catch the number, but you'll see excellent cut by Jamie Morris, the outstanding running back for Michigan.
So the Wolverines have narrowed the gap to 2 with 5:58 left in the opening quarter. Rick Setkowitz will be kicking off for Michigan. And it'll be Washington, Jones, and Swayze for Indiana. This is Washington, and he will down the ball in the end zone. That's kind of a tough sum those receivers have to look into here in the early stages of this ball game. So Indiana, after 2 quick scores, find the Wolverines coming back on 6 plays, covering 73 yards, consuming 2 minutes 52 seconds, with Jamie Morris going the final 8 yards to get Michigan's first score of the afternoon. Now Steve Bradley brings his team to the line of scrimmage. Steve Dawsey is split to the right. Dawsey is in motion to the left side now. Bradley turns, gives to Bobby Howard, meets a lot of resistance at the 20, and he is decked at the 21-yard line. Mark Messner, a sophomore from Milford Catholic Central, made the initial contact and stopped Howard at the 21-yard line. So it'll be second down and a long 9 yards to go for the Hoosiers. Bradley, looking to the far side, now brings the team to the line of scrimmage. Allen is split to the right. They have Dawsey as a slot right. And Dawsey's in motion to the short side. Pitch back to Howard. Trying the short side, just picks his way for about 4 yards, perhaps 3, to near the 24-yard line. Not much running room on the short side as the Wolverines fill very quickly, led by Andy Muller, senior from Ann Arbor Pioneer.
Here's an isolation on Bobby Howard, who has already stunned this Michigan defense, picking up a very good yardage so far here in the first quarter. He's got good strength, good speed, not very big, 6 feet, 202 pounds. Senior out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Allen split to the right. Dawsey is a wing to the far side. Bradley back to throw. Can't find anybody. Shovels it out. Almost intercepted on the far side of the field by Garland Rivers. It was intended for Dawsey, who was speeding down the left sideline, and it was smelled out by Garland Rivers. Had he made the interception, he'd have had a quick 6. But the Hoosiers are forced to punt. Eric Campbell into the ball game to receive the kick off the toe of Dan Straczynski, who booted one 49 yards against the breeze earlier this afternoon. And there's Campbell standing at the Wolverine 30. Good snap, and the kick is a high floating kick. Fair catch called for and taken at the 35-yard line by Eric Campbell. So the Wolverines again will have good field position to begin operations in this possession. Michigan will have the ball at its own 35-yard line. Kolazar comes wide to the left. Jokic is a split right end. White and Morris are the 2 running backs. Now they shift, and Morris assumes the tailback slot. They hand off to Morris, nothing there, and he is decked right at the line of scrimmage, which is the 35-yard line. It'll be second down and 10 for the Wolverines. Tom Weidenbender was in there quickly to make the tackle for Indiana. The last time that the Hoosiers have won here in Ann Arbor was in 1967, beating the Wolverines 27-20, but it was a close call back in 1979, you may recall, when John Wangler hit that game-winning touchdown to Anthony Carter with no time remaining on the clock to pull it out for the Wolverines. Kolazar is in motion to the long side of the field. Harbaugh rolls out to the left. He looks. He's going to the near sideline. Great catch made by Paul Jokic. He's out of bounds at the 41-yard line. First down, Michigan. Jokic at 6'8", 240. Making a fine catch on the near sideline. I'm moving down the field.
Another flood pattern here. Harbaugh almost got caught up in the backfield with Jamie Morris. But what happens, Jokic is doing a deep out, and Kolazar goes deep to clear out the zone. He was wide open. Harbaugh threw the ball a little behind Jokic, but the big fella has got excellent hands, and there was no way. I haven't seen him drop too many passes, and he just hauled it in for a big first down for Michigan.
It's at the Indiana 41-yard line. Kolesar flank to the right. Jokic is a split left end. Harbaugh turns, gives to White. White plows into the middle and gets perhaps a yard. Ron Schmidt, a senior from Grafton, Wisconsin, made the tackle on Michigan's Gerald White. It's a gain of about a yard. Let's call it 2nd down and 9. Jim Harbaugh looking to the near sideline. 3:10 left to be played in this first quarter. Harbaugh is 4 for 4 for 77 yards in the aerial department this afternoon. Kolesar goes wide to the right. Jokic split to the left, and Harbaugh asking for a little bit of quiet here from the Michigan fans who are in the process of running the wave. Harbaugh is back to throw. Has time. Throws to the near side. It is caught there by Caddis, and he is driven out of bounds at the 27-yard line. It'll be another first down for the Wolverines as Eric Caddis makes his second catch of the afternoon at the Indiana 27.
And once again, Jim Harbaugh is still perfect. He comes off of his main receiver and goes to a secondary receiver, number 81, Eric Caddis, who is the second leading receiver coming into this football game, who's already caught 2 passes this afternoon.
Harbaugh is 5 for 5, 99 yards in the aerial department. Kolesar split wide to the right. That's the long side of the field. Harbaugh gives to Wilcher, and he's hit behind the line of scrimmage for a loss back at the 28-yard line. Knifing through was Van Waiters to make the tackle on Thomas Wilcher, the junior running back from Detroit Central. But the loss back to the 29.
Van Waiters, number 48, at the bottom of your screen, was on a blitz, and no one picked him up. He had a clean shot. Clean shot at Thomas Wilcher.
A loss of a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 11. Michigan has rushed for 35, thrown for 99, 144 yards this afternoon. Total offense, and we're still in the first quarter. Harbaugh is back to throw, looks to the far sideline. It is caught by Kolesar. He's driven out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Another first down for the Wolverines as Harbaugh continues to be flawless here in this first quarter. Eric Coleman made the stop on Kolesar.
This is a single isolation type play where Harbaugh comes back and watches his receiver, John Kolesar, number 40. He cuts on the outcut. Harbaugh puts it on the money. Kolesar, the freshman, I think the only freshman starting on the Michigan offensive team, 6 feet, 190 pounds, with excellent speed and obviously with good hands.
Kolesar flanked to the left, first down at the 12-yard line. Jokic is split to the right. The handoff going to Wilcher, dives into the middle across the 10 to about the 9-yard line. Brad Bitchell, Mike McCurry, and Willie Bates, the interior of the Indiana forward wall, in on the tackle of Tom Wilcher. Ball has been spotted at the 9-yard line. 1:45 left in the opening quarter. It'll be 2nd down and about 7 yards to go. Wilcher out of the ball game. Jamie Morris checks in to replace him. Morris had to hustle in and get the play from Jim Harbaugh, and as a result of the confusion and the possibility of time running out on the play clock, Jim Harbaugh called a timeout. There were just 6 seconds left on the 25-second clock, and rather than risk taking the penalty when Jamie Morris checked in, Harbaugh called timeout.
It's an organizational problem. Usually it's blamed on the quarterback, but in truth, it comes from the sidelines. Speaking from one of experience, a person who's had experience in that situation, I can recall being blamed for having to call that timeout. But if Bo's going to send the plays in, you got to wait until it gets to you. Otherwise, you're standing out there with nothing to do.
1:30 left in the opening quarter. Indiana leads Michigan 9-7. The Wolverines thus far have thrown for 6 first downs, rushed for 1, a total of 7. IU has a pair of first downs, both on the ground. Harbaugh on the near sideline, getting the final instructions as the Wolverines look at a 2nd down and 7 situation. On the other side, it's Bill Mallory in his 2nd year as the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers. Got his team off to a fast start this season, winning the first 4, but have dropped decisions to Ohio State and Minnesota the last 2 times out. Jokic is split to the left. The only receiver wide for the Wolverines. Harbaugh looking at a 5-man front, turns, has to carry it himself. He spins inside to about the 8-yard line. Not much there. Jokic was headed for the far corner of the end zone, but pretty well covered by Eric Coleman. And Harbaugh had to carry it himself. Brad Mitchell made the tackle.
Well, actually, there was a blitz that time by 44, Leonard Bell, and he forced Harbaugh. They wanted Harbaugh to keep the ball as opposed to coming down the line and pitching it back to Jamie Morris. So they forced Jim Harbaugh to keep it, and with their good pursuit inside, didn't allow him to pick up any yardage. So Michigan's faced with 3rd and goal, or 3rd and about 5.
Jokic is a wing to the left. Kolesar back into the ball game. Harbaugh rolling, takes a look, throws to the end zone. It is not good. Incompleted forward pass in the end zone. It was intended for Jokic, but it was a little high, and had he caught it, I think he would have been out of bounds. Leonard Bell was back defending against the pass, so it's 4th down.
It's a flood play, but one of the problems you have in passing the football is when you get down this close to the end zone, you run out of room. And Paul Jokic makes an excellent catch. You see there, he caught the ball with 2 hands, but held on to it with 1, and that shows you how big his hands are. He's a great receiver.
Mike Gillette will attempt a 25-yard field goal, boots it up, and not good. It is off to the right, and the try for 3 to move in front goes down the drain for the Wolverines after a very impressive drive. The Wolverines have been stopped by the Hoosiers, and the score remains 9-7 Indiana, with 39 seconds left in the opening quarter here at Michigan Stadium. Well, Gillette had hit 10 of 13 this season. His angle was rather sharp to the right side, but certainly within kicking distance, but didn't look like he got a good hit on the ball. So Indiana will take over the ball, still hanging on to a 2-point advantage as Ernie Jones comes wide to the right. Kenny Allen is split to the left. Now they bring Dave Loggia to the right side and set him up as a tight end. Steve Bradley turns, gives to Damon Swayze, and he gets about a yard to around the 21-yard line. Mike Mallory was in on the tackle for Michigan. Mallory, as you know, and his brother Doug are the sons of Indiana coach Bill Mallory.
Damon Swayze, number 4 here, is not a very big fella. He gets cracked inside by Mike Mallory. But Swayze's only 5'9", 190 pounds, Larry. You could tackle him.
Not very well, however. Kenny Allen comes wide to the right, and they have Stacy Dawsey. Flank to the left side. Bradley turns back to throw. Looks to the near side, and it is almost intercepted by Tony Gant. The pass was intended for Kenny Allen, but was out of his reach, and Gant could not hang on, and that is the end of the first quarter here at Michigan Stadium. So we have played 15 minutes on this homecoming afternoon in Ann Arbor. Indiana striking quickly for 9 points to take a 9-0 lead. The Wolverines coming straight down the field have narrowed to 9. We'll be back with period number 2 in just at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, a 1985 homecoming afternoon. The Wolverines trail by 2. Indiana looking at a 3rd and 9 from their own 21-yard line. Steve Bradley, faced with a passing situation, retreats to his own 10, being rushed, finds some running room to the near side. He's up the 25, and out of bounds he goes at the 28, but short of a first down by a couple of yards. Dieter Heron came up and made the saver on that particular play when it looked as though he may get the necessary yardage for the first down.
Well, you certainly can't criticize the effort here by Steve Bradley, who was flushed out of the pocket and is trying to pick up the first down. But the only problem here is that he does not have the sense of where he is. Had he known that he was 1 yard short of getting the first down, all he has to do instead of cutting out of bounds is stay in bounds, make a head move, and pick up the first down. His team would keep the ball.
Exactly right. Straczynski's high, beautiful, long, spiraling kick taken by Campbell. Comes to the near side at the 20. Tries to turn the corner, and he is hauled down at the 27-yard line in Michigan territory by Eric Coleman. A beautiful punt off the toe of Dan Straczynski, who had that trailing wind and got a boomer away. A 54-yard punt for Straczynski, who has a 49-yarder to go with it this afternoon. We're in the early seconds of the second period. Indiana 9, Michigan 7. The Wolverines have shown the ability to move the football this afternoon. A couple of turnovers cost them scores. early in the ball game. Indiana taking advantage and getting the 3 and then the 6. First and 10 for the Wolverines. 5-man front, 2 linebackers up close. Hand off to Morris, and bam, there's nothing there. He is drilled at the 28-yard line and shoved back to the 26. He'll mark his forward progress back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10. John Colazar comes back into the ball game for the Wolverines. He's a freshman, and he replaces who did he replace? Smerje comes out. Colazar comes to the near side. A little mix-up in the huddle. Jokic set as a split right end. Now Colazar is in motion to the long side. Dumped out to Morris on the near side. Finds the seam out to the 30. He's at the 40. Breaks the tackle 50. The foot race is on. He gets away, but he's stepped out of bounds at the 33-yard line. A brilliant play by Jamie Morris, but there's a flag down back at the 21, and it will be called back as a result of a holding call against the Wolverines. Well, Morris brought this crowd to its feet, but to no avail, as the play has been nullified as a result of the hold against Michigan.
Let's see if we can see who's holding here, but the play called is a screen play, and you'll see Jamie Morris make a nice cut back inside and then cuts back outside. Good blocking downfield that particular play. Number 81, Eric Caddis, got a nice block, and then Jamie just seems to run out of his shoe. He wants that touchdown bad. You see him running there with just one shoe on.
But it's all called back to the 18-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and 18 for the Wolverines as Colazar goes wide to the left. He's the flanker, and Jokic is set as a split left end. Ball on the near hash mark. Mistakes have plagued the Wolverines this afternoon. A couple of turnovers and now a holding call cost them a big gain. Harbaugh back to throw, being rushed. He lost the football, bouncing around, and I believe the Wolverines recovered it. I think Harbaugh got back quickly enough to the 6-yard line and made the recovery.
Joe Ford that time, number 31, came in on the blind side blitz, and Harbaugh did not see him until the very last minute. You'll see here 31 coming into your picture right there, knocks the ball out of his hand. Good play by Joe Ford, 31, and Harbaugh very alertly goes after that football because he knows what it means to his team if he loses the ball down here in toward his own end zone.
Jamie Morris back into the game to replace Tom Wilcher. Gerald White is set as a running back. Colazar flanked to the right, Jokic to the left. On 3rd down and 31 for the Wolverines at their own 6. Harbaugh gives to White. He's out to the 10, 15, struggles to the 19-yard line. And he is brought down at the 19.
I think Michigan conceded there and decided, hey, look, we're taking too many chances. Let's just punt, get out of this series, talk about a few things, and when we get the ball back, hopefully make some adjustments and do a little better on offense.
I think I identified the runner as White. It was in reality Jamie Morris who carried out to the 19-yard line. Bell is back at the 40-yard line for Indiana on this punt. And he got a nice high spiraling kick away. All the way back to the 28-yard line. And down he goes at the 35. It was Caddis, I believe, downfield to make the tackle. It was, Eric. At the 35-yard line, and Indiana will have good field position with a breeze at its back to begin this series of downs. 12 minutes and 9 seconds left in the opening half. Indiana leads the Wolverines by a score of 9-7. Bradley has thrown for 6,000-plus yards during his Big Ten career, rolling out to the right, looks, throws, completes the pass to Dave Lilja on the far side at the 48-yard line. Mike Mallory made the tackle, and it's a first down for Indiana, just short of the 48.
Larry, there's only been 8 players in the history of the Big Ten to throw for 6,000 yards, and Mr. Bradley was number 7. You'll see Bradley here rolling out to his right. He's got a very strong arm. You see him pump the ball in there to his fine tight end, Lilja.
Jones is set as a slot to the right. Bradley, Howard, and Howard is out of bounds, but there's a flag down back at the 45-yard line. Howard carrying to about the Michigan 46, but there's a flag on the play. Garland Rivers made the tackle, and it appears it's against Indiana for illegal use of the hands, and that will cost them the gain plus the penalty yardage. Clock is stopped with 11 minutes 45 seconds left in the opening half. Indiana 9 and Michigan 7. Ball is moved back to the 37-yard line in Indiana territory for holding. Doug Mallory has gone into the secondary for the Wolverines. Tony Gatt is back there. Penalty yardage. Hoosiers 3 for 25. Wolverines 1 for 10. Ernie Jones is split to the left. Bradley on the draw, gives to Howard. He's out to the 40, 45, 50, still on his feet to the sideline, 40 and out of bounds at the 37.5-yard line. Tony Gatt made the tackle on Bobby Howard, who's having quite a field day this afternoon. He's averaged 5 yards per carry coming in, but he has really been romping today.
He's already got 9 yards for 59 yards, or 9 carries for 59 yards. You'll see here Bobby Howard making good cuts, but give credit to that offensive line because there was a gaping hole right off to his left, and Howard, with his good speed, picks up a first down, a critical first down for Indiana.
Jones a slot to the right side, and Howard goes straight up the middle down to the 35-yard line. A gain of about 3 on the play. Mike Reinhold made the tackle for the Wolverines.
We told you at the top of the show Howard's best game was several weeks ago against Missouri, in which he gained 111 yards, and certainly appears that he's headed toward a 100-yard day here this afternoon against Michigan.
He's had just 3 100-yard games in his career. His best last year was against Purdue, 114. He had 104 against Minnesota and 111 against Missouri. Quick pass to the side is caught over on the far wing at the 25-yard line by Kenny Allen, and he is dropped immediately. However, Indiana picks up still another first down. Garland Rivers made the tackle on Kenny Allen, who ranked 16th in the nation in pass receptions starting today's play.
Very effective call that time by Bradley, going to his receiver Kenny Allen into the soft zone area. Just a 5-yard quick pass. Outplay, first down, Indiana.
Jones in motion to the long side of the field. Allen split to the right, pitch back to Bobby Howard. He's hemmed in, breaks free for a moment, and then he is drilled at the 26-yard line. He may have reached the 25. Mike Mallory nailed him in the midsection and drove him backward, but they'll mark his forward progress to the 25. It'll be a loss of about a ½ yard.
Great pursuit that time by the Michigan defense, because they had Jeff Akers, number 33, the outside linebacker, blocked very well. Howard cut back inside, and the good pursuit by the Michigan defense caused the loss of yardage. 2nd and 10 for Indiana.
Again, it's Howard struggling through. Hammerstein hit him right at the line of scrimmage, drove over him to about the 23-yard line. Now Indiana is looking at a 3rd and long situation. It'll be about 8 yards to go for the first down. So a big play coming up for the Michigan defensive unit. Ball is about 3 yards in from the near hash mark, right out in front of the goal post.
And you got to keep in mind, Larry, that really they're in 4th down territory. It's 3rd down and 8 here, but with a 2-point lead, Indiana's got to be thinking that they got an opportunity to go for it on 4th down as well as this down.
Jones in motion to the long side. Bradley hemmed in. He is being chased and dropped for a loss all the way back to the 34-yard line. Tremendous pursuit by the Wolverines. And it was Scarcelli, a senior from Warren, Michigan, that made the tackle and is going to make the field goal attempt a little more testy than had been anticipated.
We just talked about the 4-down area. The worst thing and the only thing that could keep them out of not going for the 4th down would be loss of yardage on 3rd down. And, you know, Steve Bradley really took him out of position by losing that yardage. Should have thought about that prior to it happening.
It'll be a 48-yard field goal attempt by Pete Stoyanovich. His longest this season is 41 yards. Ball is down. Kick is long enough, and it is good. Stoyanovich. Boots won 48 yards, the longest of this season for the young fella. And Indiana put 3 more on the scoreboard.
And he really could have kicked that ball 55 because, I mean, he hit it. It was well up into the stands. Good distance on it.
He had a bit of a trailing breeze, but as you say, he really hit it. And with 8 minutes, 42 seconds left in the opening half, Indiana has moved out to a 12-7 lead over the Michigan Wolverines. Well, the lone problem, really, that Michigan has encountered here this afternoon is its own mistakes.
That's exactly right. They have really stopped themselves, Larry, and probably the team as a whole came out here flat. Just, you know, it's difficult as a young college player not to read the papers, not to listen to people in classes telling you how great you are. They were the second-ranked team in the country coming in here last week going against Iowa. This week they're ranked number 4. And a lot of times, you see the point spread. It was 24 points Michigan was favored by. Then you just think sometimes in your own mind that you can just come out and just because you're the 4th-ranked team in the country, it's just going to happen. Well, you got to come out and make things happen. And I'm telling you, reality has finally set in on this Michigan team. With all the mistakes they made here early in this football game, they now realize that they've got to play if they want to win this football game.
Stoyanovich will kick off for the visiting Indiana Hoosiers. He'll have the wind at his back. Hoosiers lead 12-7. Here's the boot. High end over end kick will sail out of the end zone on the fly and will be brought out to the 20-yard line. So Michigan will begin operations at its 20. One of the best changes in rules came as a result of last year. Recall that anything out of the end zone will be brought out to, what was it, 25 or 30-yard line?
30 yards.
It was the dumbest rule I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
But the rules makers made the change after 1 year, and it is brought out to the 20-yard line. Jokic is split to the right, and Kolesar is flanked to the left. Harbaugh turns. Gives to his tailback, Jamie Morris, who plows out to the 27-yard line. A gain of about 7, and Tom Weidenbrenner made the tackle on him there.
Take a look at Jamie Morris being handed the ball deep in the backfield. Makes a good cut up the middle.
Morris averaging 4.6 yards per carry, ranks 4th in the Big Ten rushing circles. 2nd down and 3. Kolesar comes wide to the right as a flanker. Jokic is a split right end. Kettis tight left end. Again, the pitch to Morris hit behind the line of scrimmage and spun down at the 25-yard line. It was Dan Bauer who knifed through from his nose guard position and cut the pins from Jamie Morris at the 25. A loss of a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Now let's call it 3rd down and 5 as they spot it now at the 25-yard line. Wolverine sent Kolesar wide to the right as a flanker, and Jokic is a split left end.
Michigan can't afford not to pick up the 1st down here.
You're looking at a 4-man front as Harbaugh is back to throw. Has to run out of the pocket. Now throws to the side. It is caught over there by White, I believe. Nope, it was Morris at the 32-yard line, and the Wolverines pick up the 1st down. Van Waiters made the tackle on Jamie Morris.
Excellent play by Harbaugh. He was really pressured back in the pocket, realizing where all of his receivers are. At the last minute, he spots his fullback or tailback, Jamie Morris, picks up the 1st down on the throw.
Kolesar wide to the right. Jokic split to the right. On 1st down at the Michigan 32-yard line. Harbaugh gives to Morris. Finds the seam. He's out to the 40, and down he goes at the 46-yard line. It's another 1st down for Michigan. Van Waiters made the tackle on Jamie Morris, who came out of the blocks like he was launched that carry.
Jamie Morris showing why he is the biggest threat on this offensive football team. Cuts up the middle, has now picked up 44 yards and 8 carries. Last week's offensive champion versus Iowa. capable of running back kickoffs and just about anything. Great pass receiver.
6.5 minutes left in the opening half. Kolesar is in motion to the long side of the field. Harbaugh gives to White, shoves forward, flag is down. He reached near the midfield stripe, but a flag was thrown, and we may have a holding call against the Wolverines. Brad Mitchell made the tackle, but it is a holding penalty against the Wolverines, and that will cost them the game plus the penalty yardage.
See if we can see the holding as Gerald White cuts back. Too hard to tell. You know, the officials could virtually call holding on every down, as far as I'm concerned, and sometimes you wonder who was holding.
The way things have gone here this afternoon, it's very close to every down. Ball has been moved back to the 35.5-yard line in Michigan territory, where it'll be first down and 20. 6:17 left in the opening half. Indiana leads the Wolverines 12-7. Jokic split to the left, Kolesar flank to the right. Now Indiana moving the outside linebackers up, now off. Harbaugh changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Will have to get it underway. Does. He's back to throw. Rolls out to the right side. He's going to have to run. He's at the 35-40, down the sidelines and out of bounds at the 46-yard line. And he picked up the 10 yards of penalty assessed just a moment ago and gets it back to the original line of scrimmage to bring up second down and 10.
Here's a look, an ISO on the fine tight end, Eric Caddis, number 81 here. He's on the crossing pattern. He's wide open, but Jim Harbaugh never had a chance to look for him because he had constant pressure from the time he took the snap and started to roll out. Just didn't have a chance to look downfield.
Second down and 10 for the Wolverines. Jokic split to the left, and Kolesar is flanked to the left. Harbaugh back to throw. Comes to the short side. Is being hit, and he's still on his feet. Now he's going to be dropped for a big loss back at the 32-yard line as Dan Bauer came up and spun him around and down at the 32-yard line. So the Wolverines lose about 12. We'll see where they spot it. It's at the 34.
Jim Harbaugh was about 1 second shy of a very big play here. You could see there he was ready to pump and throw it, but the constant pressure by the Indiana defense and Dan Bauer, number 55, finally making the tackle. But I'm telling you, 1 second short of throwing the bomb to Eric Caddis, who was once again wide open for a touchdown.
Now the Wolverines are looking at 3rd and 22. Kolesar wide to the left. Jokic split to the left. Harbaugh back to throw, throwing to the far side. Jokic has it and then dropped it at the 48-yard line. He was covered over there by Eric Coleman. Jokic with very good hands, just let that one squirt away.
Excellent hands. The old rule, you got to catch the ball before you run with it. And you will see here that Paul Jokic takes his eye off the ball to look right there. He took his eyes off to look at the defender to see which way he wanted to move with it and let the ball go through his hands. I mean, his hands are about at least 4 times the size of mine or something. Maybe 1.5. Big hands.
Leonard Bell back to receive Monty Robbins' punt. It's a high bouncing kick now. It goes to the far side and out of bounds at the 27-yard line. So Indiana again will get good field position with 4:45. The Hoosiers have had great field position all afternoon.
And they've played very good football.
Indiana coming in with a win-loss record of 4-2. Lost last year 14-6, and have really been dominated by the Wolverines over the year. Michigan winning 33 of 41 previous contests played between these two teams. Indiana with a first down at its own 27-yard line sends Stacy Dawsey wide to the left. The slot to the left is Ernie Jones. Bradley back to throw. Dumps it off to the far side, and it is caught at the 30-yard line by Damon Swayze. A gain of only about 3 yards. And the clock continues to run. 4:32 left in the opening half. The passing game for Indiana has been somewhat less in the last couple of games than Bill Mallory had come to expect. Indiana has thrown for only 299 yards in the last 2 games, and that's far below what the Hoosiers were averaging the first 4. Bradley gives the ball to Swayze, and he is out to about the 33-yard line. Mike Mallory made the tackle on him. They will place it just short of the 35-yard line.
Swayze, we've told you, is not a very big fellow, only 5'9", junior out of Lake Forest, California. But combined between him and Howard comprise a very effective tandem.
Bradley being chased. He gets away, now unloads, and it's incomplete. Intended at the 41-yard line for Dave Lilja, but thrown behind him. Had it been completed, it would have been a first down. The great pressure applied, and it forces the incompleted forward pass, and again the Michigan defensive unit gets a nice round of applause as it leaves the field. So Dan Straczynski will go back to punt, and Eric Campbell will stand on the Michigan 20-yard line. He'll be looking into a very bright sun when he gets ready to receive this kick. Good snap, and another dandy. A high, long, floating kick to the sideline, and it takes a good Michigan bounce and goes into the end zone. It looked as though Straczynski was going to put it out of bounds around the 3-yard line, but it bounced back toward the center of the field and into the end zone. And the Wolverines will start from their own 20 with 3:25 left in the opening half. Straczynski has had a great kicking day. This one, a 52.3 average for the afternoon. This past one, 65 yards. Ball at the 20. Bob Perryman is in at a fullback slot. Jamie Morris operating at the tailback position. Paul Jokic is split to the right, and Kolazar is flanked to the left. 5-man front shown by the Hoosiers. And not much happening as the Wolverines pick up about a yard as Doug Schlereth made the tackle for Indiana. Morris has carried the ball 9 times now for 47 yards this afternoon.
I'm sure Michigan would like to get some more points on the board here, Larry, before the half with just under 3 minutes left. I expect them to come out throwing, not running.
Kolazar is flanked wide to the left. Back the throw. It comes to the near side, caught by Jokic, and he steps out of bounds at the 31-yard line. That'll stop the clock after picking up the first down. Alex Freed made the contact on Jokic to force him out of bounds.
Good play here for 2 reasons. They pick up the first down and they stop the clock without using a call timeout. Good play. Harbaugh drops back. Simple outcut by Jokic. Catches it and cradles it because he lost that last one. He wanted to make sure he held on to that one. First down, Michigan.
2 minutes, 43 seconds left in the opening half. Indiana leads it by a score of 12-7. Kolazar wide to the left. Jokic split to the right. Harbaugh back the throw. Over the middle it goes, and it is caught there at the 35-yard line, and Caddis carries it out to the 42, and it is close to a first down. Darren Bush made the tackle on Caddis, and they may bring the chain in from the far side, and that will stop the clock.
This is a tight end delay. You'll see Harbaugh trying to look off his tight end, and 81, Caddis, comes behind. It's called a tight end delay. He waits for the linebackers to drop, and once again, once they dump the ball, he tries to pick up as much yardage as possible, and possibly a first down here. Yes, it is.
By just the length of the football. Harbaugh is now 9 for 11 through the air, 144 yards passing for Michigan here in the first half. 2 minutes and 34 seconds. The ninth passing first down for the Wolverines in this first half. 2:28 left in the first half of play. Harbaugh again back to throw. He's looking long, throws, Caddis at the 30 and down to the 25-yard line. A beautiful pass thrown by Jimmy Harbaugh to Eric Caddis, who caught it at the 30, picked up 5 more before Leonard Bell hauled him down And it's another Wolverine first down.
Once again, we anticipated them going to the tight end quite a bit because of that two-deep zone. And you'll see the two defensive backs here, even though they were converging on Eric Caddis, who makes an excellent catch, by the way, over his shoulder. But that hole is there in the defense, deep in the two-deep zone. Eric Caddis with another big catch, I believe his third of the day so far.
2:17 left in the opening half. The Wolverines are moving on the strong right arm of Jimmy Harbaugh. Morris picks up 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's down to the 18-yard line. Darren Bush made the tackle on Jamie Morris, who refused to go down, and it's very close to a first down, short by about 1.5 yards at the 17. Clock running 1:50. Morris has carried it 10 times for 54 yards here in the opening half. Second down and about 2 yards to go for the first down for Michigan. Harbaugh back to throw. Looks, he sees some daylight, now reverses out, comes to the right side. He is hemmed in again, now dumps it off to the right, incomplete. He had Jokic coming back along the near sideline, but Harbaugh wisely got rid of the ball rather than
taking the loss,
thrown for the loss. And he stops the clock with the incompleted forward pass. 1:27 left in the half. The Wolverines will have it 3rd and 2 for the first down.
You know, Jim's got those quick feet, Jim Harbaugh. He reminds me a lot of Montana with San Francisco, with making those very quick decisions under pressure.
3rd and 2 at the Indiana 17-yard line. Harbaugh pitches back to Morris. He's at the 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Michigan. Scampering 17 yards to pay dirt, and the Wolverines, for the first time this afternoon, have taken the lead 13-12 with 1:22 left in the opening half. Pretty good looking drive, my man.
Excellent drive. Well thought out, well executed. Jamie Morris that time got a fine block from his offensive guard, Mike Kraus, number 51, on the kickout block, and it was nothing but a big hole for him to run through. Nobody even touched him, I don't think, Larry.
The Wolverines had gone to the line of scrimmage as though they were going to go for 2. Then timeout was called by Indiana, as Bill Mallory wants to get a little bit different unit on, if that is what the Wolverines are going to indeed do.
He's got to put his defense, his normal defense, out there if they're going to run an offensive play and try to go for 2. Here's the touchdown. Watch the pitch back. This is a power sweep. Watch 51 at the line of scrimmage. He's going to have a kick-out block right there. Right there. That 51 made the hole. And Jamie Morris just turns on the afterburners. Shines that number 1 sign.
The Wolverines now lead 13-12, and unless there is a switch, they'll try to put 2 on the board. The Michigan aerial attack this season has averaged at just 137 yards per game. I would guess that the Wolverines are well over that mark here in the first half of this one this afternoon. Michigan has rushed for 85 yards.
Morris has 71 of the 85.
Tells you a little something, doesn't it? Well, the Wolverine ground attack is 3rd best in the Big Ten starting today's play, averaging 213 yards per game. But the aerial game has been the facet of the contest that had carried them downfield to let that fella move it in. Michigan will shoot for a pair here in the attempted conversion. 1:22 left in the opening half. Wolverines lead it 13-12. Colazar is flanked wide to the right. The split right end is Jokic.
Throw back to Caddis.
Caddis is the tight end on the left side. Harbaugh throws to Morris, complete for the 2-point conversion. So the Wolverines up their lead to 3 with 1:22 left in the opening half. Wolverines had trailed the entire first half, but now have a 15-12 advantage over the visitors from Indiana.
Here's a flood pattern to Jamie Morris, but if you notice, Eric Caddis was right there, number 81, so I had the right ideal, wrong receiver.
You can't have everything.
Yeah,
right. I'll give the Wolverines some credit. They were a little bit flat starting today's game. They had countless mistakes that hurt them early, but they pulled it all together here in the second quarter and moved down the field in the aerial game with Jimmy Harbaugh moving him downfield. Morris going in for 6 and then got 2 more on the try for the 2-point conversion. Rick Sutkowitz will be kicking off for the University of Michigan. And Damon Swayze, a very fine kickoff return man who averages 21 yards per return, is standing at the goal line for Indiana. Spud Washington is also back there, along with Ernie Jones. (15-12). Wolverines lead the Hoosiers. 1:22 left in the opening half. And here's the run-up by Sutkowitz, and it's a long end-over-end kick taken by Swayze. He's out to the 10. Some daylight. The 20 goes to the far side and is wrestled down at the 32-yard line by Dieter Heron. So the outstanding return man for Indiana, Damon Swayze, brings it back to the 32, and 1:15 left in the half.
Swayze's not very big. We've told you that before, but he's one of the fastest guys on this football team. Does a good job of reading his blocks, and had it not been for Dieter Heron, number 35, he could have easily put 30, 40 more yards onto that kickoff return.
Bradley has plenty of time to move the Hoosiers. He's back to throw to the far side, and it's caught beautifully. Was he inbounds? Yes, he was, and then stepped out at the 49-yard line. Great reception by Kenny Allen, who got the feet down. He's the third leading receiver in the Big Ten, and that's a little demonstration of his ability.
Yes, indeed, and he is their leading receiver. He's already had 1 catch this afternoon, giving him 35. This is his 36, and he does a good job of keeping his feet in bounds, and you got a chance to see Steve Bradley's arm. He's got a whip.
Bradley running to the near side. He'll head for the sideline marker and goes out of bounds at the Wolverine 44-yard line as Doug Mallory came over and drove him out. Still 63 seconds left in the half. The clock has stopped as a result of Bradley going out of bounds. The Michigan scoring drive covering 7 plays, 80 yards. 2 minutes, 3 seconds taken off the clock. Morris doing the final 17, and then the 2-point conversion from Harbaugh to Morris to make it 15-12 Michigan.
Bradley picked up good yardage on that last play, but I thought, Larry, he gave up on it way too early. He could have easily picked up 10 more yards by not going out of bounds. It's the second time he's done that, and particularly in a situation like this, playing a big team like Michigan, you've got to stay in bounds, young man, and pick up better yardage if you want to beat Michigan.
Dawson flank wide to the right. Allen is split to the left. Bradley back to throw. Throws to the sideline, and it is behind Bobby Howard, the intended receiver, after 36. Andy Moeller put a little pressure on, and the clock has stopped with 59 seconds left in the half, and it'll be 3rd down and 4 for Indiana. Kenny Allen is limping off the field. Their very fine receiver has banged up that left leg. He's out of the ball game, and to replace him is Ernie Jones. Dave Lilja has also gone off the field for Indiana. And then to replace him is Tony Buford, who is split to the left.
They got the speed boys in there now.
The Burners.
The Burners.
Bradley straight back to throw on 3rd and 4. Throws across, and he has completed it at the 38-yard line. I believe that was Jones on the receiving end on the far side. It was. And it is very close to a first down. From here, it appears that it is a first down.
Yeah, he certainly had the first down when he caught the ball, but he may have lost it trying to get more yardage downfield, giving him a couple of yards, but I think he's going to have the first down. In fact, yes, he does.
Brad Cochran made the tackle on Ernie Jones.
Here you see Steve Bradley setting up, throwing the ball with good velocity on it. Good pair of hands there by Ernie Jones. Caught the ball with his hand.
49 seconds left in this first half of play at Michigan Stadium. The Wolverines lead Indiana 15-12. Indiana has scored a touchdown, failed to convert the extra point. They've kicked a couple field goals. Timeout on the field. There is what Michigan has accomplished in the 177 yards is what we were talking about earlier. The Wolverines averaging 137 for the season. They have 177 in the first half of this one. Timeout on the field. And when play resumes, Indiana will have a first down at the Michigan 38-yard line with 49 seconds left in the first half. Dave Lilja has checked back into the ball game, replacing Ernie Jones for Indiana. Hoosiers with one timeout remaining. The Wolverines with a pair. Steve Bradley has completed his discussions on the side, returns to the field, and we're ready to play. Michigan band poised. Michigan alumni band also on hand this afternoon. On the draw, and a handoff goes to the fullback who goes straight into the middle. That was Tom Polk, and he got to the 35-yard line. Mark Messner made the tackle. Kind of an interesting call. He got about 3. It'll be second down and 7. His first carry this afternoon. Bradley in trouble, comes to the near side. He's out to the 30, down to the 26-yard line. 21 seconds left in the half. Doug Mallory made the tackle.
Heads up thinking that time by Bradley. He kept the ball downfield enough to pick up the first down and then decided to dive and not injure himself.
He got the necessary yardage for the first down. And Indiana has just spent its last time out this half as Bradley goes to the far sideline. Going back to that carry by Tom Pulse, I thought there was a little bit of an interesting call, going for the first down, going on first down.
For the run.
For the run, with just a few seconds left on the clock. Perhaps the element of surprise.
Didn't work.
Didn't work.
They've got to throw the football here with no timeouts left. If they try to run, there's no chance of them trying to kick a field goal because they're not going to have enough time to get the team on the field. So I'm sure Michigan's aware of that, if I'm aware of it.
Don't underestimate yourself. Well, we'll find out. But I would think that your strategy is sound. 21 seconds left in the half. Wolverines lead it 15-12, but the Hoosiers have the ball on the Michigan 26-yard line. They send Stacy Dawsey wide to the right. Kenny Allen is back into the ball game as a split left end. Bradley tied under the center, looking at a 5-man front. Bradley back to throw. Throws to the near side. It is incomplete. Intended at the 16-yard line for Bobby Howard, but it was thrown low, and there was no chance for Bobby to make the reception. So the field goal attempt will be made. The ball will be spotted at the 33-yard line, which makes it a 43-yard attempt.
On second down, the field goal will be tried.
Pete Stoyanovich already has kicked 2 for Indiana. He'll try to tie the game. He has the breeze directly at his back. It's up, it's long enough, and it is good. And Indiana has tied this game at 15-15 on the talented toe of Pete Stoyanovich, who has just kicked a 43-yarder, his third three-pointer of the afternoon. 13 seconds remain on the scoreboard clock. And the Wolverines will have that much time remaining to try to snap this tie, if indeed they so choose. Well, Indiana, as you pointed out at the opening of the telecast, has always been a tough opponent for the Wolverines, despite the fact that Michigan has dominated this long, long series. But some of the victories have not come easily.
Isn't that the truth? This is a real good football team, Larry. We talked about their ability as an offensive football team to both run and pass the ball. And it certainly has shown up this afternoon. I mean, they're a good football team, I think.
Mallory has had a good deal of success every place he has been. And now he is trying to turn this Indiana program around, and it appears that the Hoosiers have turned the corner. Indiana needing 8 plays to travel 46 yards, a minute 12 seconds. Stoyanovich kicking the 43-yard field goal and has tied the game at 15-8. Stoyanovich will kick off, and he drives it deep. And this goes out of the end zone, and the fly will be brought to the 20-yard line, and the Wolverines will have 13 seconds left in this first half. I think perhaps a lot of folks looked at Indiana as a team that, yes, it enjoyed some success early, but against the likes of Louisville, which has had nothing but a tough season under the Cardinals' new coach. Navy has not been a power, neither has Missouri nor Northwestern. And Ohio State, of course, pummeled Indiana 48-7. And last week, the Hoosiers were no great shakes against Minnesota.
But you know, Larry, the bottom line is to be able to win 4 games at the start of the season is an accomplishment for any football team nowadays, because all the teams are tough. All the teams are much tougher, and for Indiana to do that, people should realize that they've got a good football team.
Morris coming to the outside at the 30, 35, and down he goes at the 40-yard line. It's a first down that'll stop the clock to get the chain moved, and in addition to that, time has been called by the Wolverines. They'll have the ball at their own 40-yard line. 12 carries for Morris so far this afternoon. 93 yards have been posted behind his name. He is the 4th leading rusher in the Big Ten, and he's had a big first half. Averaging 7.8 per carry, and he has scored a 17-yard touchdown. 6 seconds remain in the opening half. The Wolverines talking things over at the 30 as Jim Harbaugh is on the near sideline discussing things.
Keep in mind, Indiana's defense likes to go to that 2-deep zone, and that's really the reason why we've seen Caddis so wide open down the middle. So with that in mind, if you're anticipating a 2-deep zone, and the fact that Indiana realizes that Eric Caddis has already caught 2 big passes against them, you might want to send your halfback down in that area, out of the backfield. Maybe Jamie Morris down the middle. We'll look for it.
Jokic is a split left end. Kozar is flanked to the left. 1st and 10. Harbaugh back to throw. Comes to the near side, and it is caught at the 47-yard line by White, and there's only 1 second left in this first half. Now we have the Wolverines using their final timeout.
I think they ran that play, Larry, just to find out what kind of prevent coverage that Indiana was going to be in. And I noticed that they were in the 3-deep zone rather than the normal 2-deep zone that they like to play. So possibly they used that particular play to realize what defense they would be in, and now they're going to try for a big play to score 6 points here.
Harbaugh looking to the sideline, and it is caught on the near side by Jokic, and he is nailed at the 27-yard line, and that'll be the end of the first half. So the 2 teams head for the tunnel on the far side of the field, in much the same situation on the scoreboard as this game began. It is tied. Michigan 15. We'll have the kickoff for you in just a moment. Indiana and the Wolverines are tied at 15 each. Take a look at the statistics on the first half of play. There are 2 glaring statistics, and that's in the turnover department. But Michigan has moved the football very well. They have 307 total yards in the first half.
In the first half, that's a whole lot of yardage. And Harbaugh, who's completed 12 of 15 passes for 201 yards, is really approaching a record for Michigan in yardage in a game which is 259 yards, held by Chris Zerbrugg. So, you know, I would expect him to be breaking a record this afternoon.
Turnover department leading to 2 scores for Indiana, one of which was the first touchdown of the afternoon. And it came early in the first quarter of action with Indiana leading by a score of 3-0. Here is Indiana's first TD.
It's the option play down the line to Damon Swayze, number 4. Good job of optioning by Steve Bradley, the quarterback. It's a big first touchdown for Indiana. Here's the touchdown by Michigan. Jamie Morris does a nice job of reading his blocks and cutting up the middle for 6 points.
That got Michigan back to a 9-7 situation. The Wolverines finally went ahead 15-12, but Indiana kicked a field goal late in the first half to tie it at 15, and we're ready to go in the third quarter. Morris and Kolesar are the deep end for this kickoff, which takes one hop out of the end zone, and it'll be brought back out to the 20-yard line for the first play from scrimmage here in this third quarter. Great halftime show provided by the University of Michigan Marching Band and alumni who are on hand here this afternoon. We had a very interesting first half of play, and we expect more of the same in the second half. Bobby Howard rushed for 68 yards to pace the ground game for Indiana in the first half. The Wolverines got 93 yards out of Jamie Morris. We're ready to go as Jim Harbaugh brings the club up to the line of scrimmage on 1st and 10 from the 20. Jamie Morris tries the right tackle slot and gets about 3 yards. Out to the 23-yard line, Brad Mitchell, a sophomore from Holland, Illinois, made the tackle. He's the leading tackler on this Indiana team, and he's been a busy man this afternoon. A gain of 3 for Jamie Morris, who've been averaging 5.4 yards per carry. Had a very fine first half. John Kolesar comes wide to the right, and Jokic has been split to the left on 2nd down and 7. 5-man front shown by Indiana as Kolesar goes in motion to the left. Harbaugh is back to throw. Swing pass completed to Morris. He's out to 25-30. Cuts to his right, and bam! He is really drilled at the 33-yard line after he had picked up the first down. Van Waite came up and hit him head on, and that was the end of that for the Wolverines.
Good conservative call here on 2nd and 7 by Michigan to go to the screen play to Jamie Morris, number 23 right here, who does a fine job of cutting it up. But I thought, Larry, he should cut outside right here. When he broke that tackle, if he cuts outside, he's got more blockers. As you can see the feet of Paul Jokic coming to your screen. He had the sidelines had he cut back outside instead of staying straight up the field.
But he picks up the first down for Michigan. The Wolverines have the ball just short of the 34-yard line. Pitch back to Jamie Morris. Coming to the right side. Needs a block. He gets it. Turns the corner and slips and falls. As he's trying to get back inside, he goes down at the 38-yard line. Pretty good block thrown by Mike Krause, who pulled out of the right offensive tackle slot. Morris now 14 carries, 98 yards as he approaches the 100-yard marker. Kolesar back into the ball game, and there's the head coach of these Michigan Wolverines in his 17th season. Doesn't seem that long. 2nd down and 5. Jokic split to the right. Kolesar is in motion to the left. Harbaugh to White. White plows up the middle to the 45-yard line and got the first down for the University of Michigan. Tom Weidenbender made the tackle on Gerald White, who picked up the first down for Michigan.
Quick hitter inside. White running just off the center's block. Did a nice job of running inside. First down, Michigan.
At the Wolverine 45-yard line. Kolesar goes wide to the left as the flanker. Jokic will be set as a split left end. And Caddis is the tight right end. White and Morris in the backfield behind Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh gives to White. Got a little bit of an opening. Just plows forward out to near the 49-yard line. Not much running room there. Tim Houts came up and made the tackle for Indiana after a gain of about 4. The ball has been spotted at the 49-yard line. We have a Michigan player down.
79, Clay Miller. One of the few things Michigan can ill afford is another lineman to go down. Clay Miller, their strong tackle, 6'4", 264-pound senior from Norman, Oklahoma. He's also a All-American academic All-American.
Like he banged up that right knee or leg a little bit. He is walking off under his own power, flexing it, testing it out. That's the score. We're in the early seconds of this third quarter here at Michigan Stadium. It's tied at 15 each. It'll be second down and 6 for the Wolverines. The ball on their own 49-yard line. We'll play resume. Golazar goes wide to the left. And Jokic comes to the right as a split right end. White and Morris continue to operate in the backfield behind Jim Harbaugh, who's looking at a 5-man front with the 2 linebackers up. Harbaugh retreats, looks, throws to the long side. It's caught by Jokic, 35-30, 25, hold down at the 20-yard line. Jeff Wade and Leonard Bell made the tackle on the Wolverines' big split end, but not before he had reached the 21-yard line, where it's first down for the Wolverines.
What happens on this play, Harbaugh actually signals Jokic to cut upfield. He's on the out cut, and then he turns it upfield, going into that 2-deep zone. You'll see the corner man right there. That's 1/2 of the 2-deep zone. And Jokic, when he cut inside, had a lot of running room. Nice play. I'm sure that was designed at halftime because of the 2-deep defense.
Morris tries the short side and struggles inside the 20 to around the 19 or 18-yard line. Tom Weidenbender made the tackle for the Hoosiers. Jamie Morris having a big afternoon. Should be over the 100-yard mark now in rushing for Michigan. He's at 100 even on 15 carries. It'll be second down and a short 8 yards to go for the first down. The ball just shy of the Indiana 18-yard line. Golazar goes wide to the left. Jokic is a split left end. The I has been established with White as the fullback, Morris the tailback. Harbaugh back to throw, throws downfield. Jokic couldn't handle it. It was at the 5-yard line. He got both hands on it but could not hold on. Leonard Bell was trailing him. It really had not much to do with the fact that Jokic did not hang on.
Great pressure coming on the backside with Jimmy Harbaugh here. It's a good thing he's got pretty decent speed, but he put this ball right on the money. Paul Jokic really should have caught it.
It'll bring up 3rd and 8.
Very tough throw going to your left. Harbaugh that time got his shoulders turned around and made a nice throw.
Big third down play for the Wolverines. They're at the Indiana 18-yard line. Wolverines have converted 1 of 5 so far this afternoon. Harbaugh to throw to the side. It is caught by Morris. He's at the 15, and he stepped out of bounds at the 14-yard line. That's short of the first down. Brad Mitchell drove him out of bounds, and it'll bring up 4th down and about 3 yards to go. Mike Gillette has come onto the field for the Wolverines. He will attempt a 31-yard field goal, angle to the right. Ball will be spotted by Monty Robbins. Gillette 10 for 13 this season. Kicks this one up and through. And Michigan breaks this 15-15 tie on the toe of Mike Gillette. He needed 1 field goal to tie for 4th in the single-season field goal success. He has that, and the Wolverines have a 3-point lead, 18-15.
Very solid drive, Larry, by Michigan, taking the second half kickoff and virtually moving right down the field. A couple of big pass plays, the one in particular from Harbaugh to Jokic.
You wonder how much of a role depth will play in this game as we go through periods 3 and 4, with the Wolverines' superior depth turn into not necessarily a manhandling situation in the late stages of this game, but Michigan should have superior depth to the Hoosiers.
Well, I think they come in actually with a problem in terms of depth, because they've had 3 of their starting offensive linemen not able to play, and now they possibly may lose Clay Miller as a result, and they're going to have to rely on their depth just to win this game, let alone blow them out.
Michigan leads with 11:08 left in the third quarter, 18-15. And Rick Sutkowitz will kick it off for Michigan. It goes to the far side. Washington has it. Comes to the 15 and out to the 17-yard line. He is buried there by a host of Wolverine tacklers. Indiana has done well in moving the ball this afternoon.
You see Washington make a nice reception here, number 24, then try to cut it up the middle, looking for a block. Wasn't a whole lot going on there.
The Hoosiers at the line of scrimmage, which is the 17 with the first down. Pitch going back to Bobby Howard, trying to get outside. He does, and he is blasted out of bounds at the 23-yard line by Mike Mallory. Indiana in the first half had 157 yards in total offense and controlled the ball well.
Howard again on the power sweep. Gets outside, shows good speed, turns it up.
Howard has carried it 13 times for 72 yards this afternoon. Second down and 2 as Howard picks up 8. Bradley with a handoff to Pulse, who goes straight into the middle across the 30 and picked up the first down for Indiana at the near the 31-yard line. Tom Pulse, a junior from Aliquipka, Pennsylvania, has averaged 5.4 yards per carry, but is somewhat overshadowed by Bobby Howard and Damon Sweezy in the Indiana backfield. First down for Indiana, just across its own 30-yard line. Dossie comes wide to the left. Bradley to Howard. Big hole out to the 40 and drilled from behind at the 46-yard line. Garland Rivers nailed him, but not before he had picked up about 15 yards, and it's another first down for Indiana.
And believe me, Tony Gant was blocked downfield by Kenny Allen, number 83, the outstanding wide receiver for Indiana. And once Mr. Howard made his cutback, he was one player away from taking it all the way down the sideline.
Kenny Allen is flanked to the left. Loja switches as the tight end on the right side, and Dossie is wide to the right as Howard goes into the middle out to about the 48-yard line. Mike Mallory made the tackle on Bobby Howard at the 48. 15 carries, 90 yards for Howard today. It'll be second down, 8 yards to go for Indiana. As the Hoosiers approach the midfield stripe here as we hit the midway mark in this third quarter. Howard dives across the 50, and that's about it. Mike Hammerstein hit him initially. Howard fell forward to the 50-yard line, and it'll be third down and about 6 yards to go for the first down. Wolverine defensive unit has played very well this afternoon.
As they have all year long, Larry. Just a good defensive unit.
Big third down play. 3rd and 6 from the 50-yard line. Dossie flanked wide to the left. Bradley retreats to throw to the side, and it is incomplete. A one-hopper that skipped off Kenny Allen, and Michigan holds, and Indiana will be forced to punt. Eric Campbell checks into the ball game. He'll go back in anticipation of the punt off the foot of Dan Straczynski, who was sensational in the first half. He averaged 52.8 yards per kick. He has the wind behind, almost got a piece of it. A high floater goes out of bounds on the far side in the vicinity of the 16-yard line. Arnold came roaring through and almost got a piece of it. But Straczynski got it away and drove it out of bounds at the 16.5-yard line. So Michigan, scoring in its first possession in the third quarter, will have the ball for the second time in the third period. 8:55 left in the quarter. Michigan leads it 18-15. Tomorrow we'll have Eastern and Central from Mount Pleasant here on Pro-Am Sports beginning at 7:30, followed at 10:30 with thoroughbred racing on trackside at Ladbroke DRC. Hope you'll be able to join us on Pro-Am Sports. John Colazar, flank to the left. Handoff goes to Morris. He's wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage, but struggles forward for a couple. He was hit behind the line by Doug Schlereth. But he drove forward for some yardage and carried it just short of the 20-yard line. It'll be second down and about 8. John Colazar comes wide to the right. Jokic is a split left end. Tom Wilcher is now in at fullback for Michigan. Harbaugh to throw, sees some daylight. He's up to the 25 and out of bounds he goes at the 26-yard line, short of a first down.
Bo is looking at that his notepad. That's his chart. Let him know what he wants to call in a given situation. As we look at Jim Harbaugh, forced out of the pocket, decides to run. He's about 1 yard short of a first down, so it'll be 3rd and 1 for Michigan. But that little piece of paper that Bo carries around has all of his plays diagrammed based on situations. He's got goal line plays there, 3rd down and long plays, 3rd and short, 2nd and long. So that, and he realizes during the week he programs those particular plays to go against particular defenses he anticipates in a given situation, so that he doesn't forget to run something that he may feel is a good play. He has them all charted out to keep track of.
3rd down and a yard to go for the first down, just short of the 26-yard line. Jokic split wide to the right. White puts his head down and drives for the first down and near the 30-yard line. It's just short of the 30. Brad Mitchell made the tackle. Now Clay Miller is back into the ball game, and that's a good sign. He was the young fellow that went limping off the field just a few moments ago.
See Gerald White go off tackle left and pick up a first down. Good hard running inside.
It's at the Michigan 30-yard line. Colazar flank to the right. Jokic split to the left. That's the short side of the field. Harbaugh fakes the handoff, pitches back to Morris, trying to decide which way to go. Goes outside, 35, and cut down at the 36-yard line. Eric Coleman made the tackle, but Eric Caddis was out there throwing a block for Jamie Morris, and Jamie had a little indecision at the moment whether to go in or out. Finally went outside and carried all the way out to the 37-yard line.
He made the right cut here, except he just waited too long to make it. You'll see Eric Caddis right there, number 81, make a good block. Morris uses the block, cuts outside, and then picks up at least another 5 yards with his own individual talent, basically his great quickness.
2nd and 3 for the Wolverines, who are moving the ball on the ground now in this second possession of this third quarter. Morris finds a hole on the other side. He's at the 45, breaks the tackle, spins beautifully across the 50, down to the 46-yard line. Jamie Morris showing some dazzling running skills. Steve May finally made the stop, but the Wolverines pick up another first down.
Just great individual effort by Jamie Morris. He'll cut up inside, good blocking, because there's a good hole in the initial cut, and then he just starts to improvise. You'll see here he spins just like a dancer, spinning 180 degrees, turning around, picking up more yardage. Excellent run.
This time it is Wilcher carrying the ball, and he gets to the 42-yard line. This drive began on the Michigan 16-yard line. It's been on the ground. Mike McCurry made the tackle on Tom Wilcher, the junior from Detroit Central.
It's a good drive, Larry, because it's one of the few drives that we've seen this year where Michigan has been able to just control the football on the ground, unlike the old days.
When you were throwing the ball all over the park. Huh? Kolozar goes wide to the left as a flanker. Jokic is a split right end. 5-man front shown. Harbaugh back to throw. He sees wide open Daylight, 35, and gets down to the 34-yard line and got the first down. Those linebackers retreated, and there were nothing but yard line stripes in front of Jim Harbaugh, and he carried for another Michigan first down. Van Waiters made the tackle on the Michigan quarterback.
Another good, smart decision by Jim Harbaugh. You're right, the linebackers dropped off. They gave him plenty of running room, and he took it. And that's what you got to do. Take what the defense gives you. Once he gets across the first down marker, he goes down, and he's satisfied.
Jokic split to the right, and Kolozar is flanked to the long side. Harbaugh back to throw over the middle. It goes. Caddis, 5, Bulls, touchdown, Michigan.
Just an excellent play here by Jim Harbaugh. Once again, they're attacking that two-deep zone that we told you about. Eric Caddis, there's the two defenders. They were split. He sent the tight end down the middle to split the two, and Harbaugh put the ball right on the money once again. Eric Caddis with his 6th touchdown of the season already.
Mike Gillette attempting the conversion, boots it through. And now the Wolverines have opened a 9-point lead with 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in the third quarter. It's the University of Michigan 25, the Indiana Hoosiers 15. Well, the Wolverines drove from their own 16-yard line on that drive, coupled with the fine drive on the first possession in the third quarter, and the Wolverines have pulled it together.
Let's take a look here. Harbaugh fakes off tackle, but he's going to get hit. You see there by a defender, and apparently he may have hurt himself. I noticed that the coaches are talking to him on the sidelines down there. He may have injured his right hand. We'll just have to wait and see and let you know. But what an excellent throw here by Jim Harbaugh to his outstanding tight end, Eric Caddis, who, as we said before, this is his 6th receiving touchdown already this season, the 2nd leading receiver for this Michigan football team.
Every time Caddis catches the ball, he's good for an average of 13.4 yards per reception, and he has had some big gainers here this afternoon as the Wolverines have now established a 25-15 lead over Indiana. And Rick Sutkowitz will kick off for the Wolverines. The deep men are Damon Swayze, who stands in the middle. Far side occupied by Spud Washington. Near side, Ernie Jones standing at the 4-yard line.
Larry, I got to believe that Harbaugh is approaching that 259 yards, most gained passing yardage per game, or for a single game statistic. We'll keep an eye on it for you.
Washington returns to the 11-yard line, where he is cut down by a rather eager band of Wolverines. Vassell was downfield quickly to make the tackle. And Indiana will have probably its poorest field position of the afternoon.
It's hard to tell whether or not this ball was going into the end zone. But under the circumstances, Washington took the reception and tried to make the best of it.
Here's a handoff to Howard. He plows into the middle and gets out to the 15-yard line on the first down play. And Howard, who has had a good afternoon in the rushing department, as has his counterpart, Jamie Morris. 8-play drive, 83 yards covered by the Wolverines, 3 minutes, 35 seconds. Harbaugh connecting on a 34-yard touchdown pass to Eric Caddis. Second down. It's Bradley. Finds a hole and gets out to the 21-yard line. Jeff Akers made the tackle on him. He is going to be close to a first down, but it looks from here as though he may be short. But they're going to bring the chain in and measure.
I agree, Larry. It's at least a yard short.
4 minutes, 35 seconds left in the third quarter. Michigan leads 25-15.
A half a yard short.
About the length of the football short.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it is a third down and that much to go for the first down. The ball at the 21-yard line. Mike Gillette, the place kicker for the Wolverines, telling his mates how it's done. He's had a good season in the place kicking department for the Wolverines.
Indiana 0 for 8 so far this afternoon in third down situations.
And coming in, they have been converting at a 51% pace. Quarterback Sneak Bradley appears to have picked up the necessary yardage for the first down.
1 for 9. Hey, you know, I went to school.
You're a college grad. Huh? Well, it's nice to see you smile again. And in the first quarter, I didn't see too many smiles coming out of that good-looking face.
You know I'm objective, Larry. You know, I come up and do these games.
You get that big M burned right into your chest. And that's all right, too. 4:12 left in the third quarter. Bradley back the throw, looks to the side, and it is knocked down beautifully. It was intended for Stacy Dawsey, and Ivan Hicks went right over the top and did a terrific job in knocking the ball away from Dawsey.
Just great coverage this time by Ivan Hicks, number 17, as you watch Steve Bradley go back and throw the deep out pattern, which is really the toughest pass to complete in all of football, because it requires a good, strong arm in order to get that ball out there. And you see Hicks, who's all over Dawsey, number 7.
But after he had knocked the ball away.
Yes.
Second down and 10. It's Howard struggling for a couple of yards out to around the 26-yard line. Bobby Howard has been the workhorse in the backfield for Indiana. Andy Moeller making the tackle. He is a senior from Ann Arbor Pioneer. Now Howard has hit the century mark. He has carried the ball 18 times this afternoon for 100 net yards gained. And another third down, but it's a long 3rd and 7. Dieter Herron has come onto the field for the Wolverines. Indiana 1 for 9 in third down conversions after being 51% for the season coming into today's play. Bradley throws to the near side. It is caught by Allen. He is out to the 39-yard line, and he got the first down. Tony Gatt made the tackle. It's just short of the 40-yard line, and Kenny Allen, who is ranked 16th in the nation in pass receptions, picks off a big one here.
And he's their pass receiving leader, and for Indiana to have a good passing day, they've got to get the ball to Kenny Allen. This is only his 3rd catch so far today. He only had 2 in the first half for 14 yards.
First down for the Hoosiers. Bradley rolling out to the right, throws to the far side. It is caught by Dawsey, and a nice catch hit immediately by Brad Cochran. Not a big gain, but nevertheless, the Wolverines have yielded about, well, let's call it 7 yards. Second down and 3. Stacy Dawsey on the receiving end, and it'll be second down and 3 yards to go.
And really, Larry, 7 yards on first down. That's excellent field, or that's picking up good yardage on first down. Now you can do just about anything you want on second, knowing that you got third down to call a play as well.
Allen split to the left. Into the middle goes the fullback, and Billy Harris wraps him up immediately. Stop for no gain. Tom Pulse, with one of his few carries this afternoon, stopped, may have picked up a yard. Let's call it third down, and 2 yards to go as the ball has been placed just short of the 48-yard line. Eric Jones comes wide to the left on third down. They have the I formation, ends are tight. Bradley sliding down. He's being hit. He's thrown for a big loss back at the 38-yard line. Mike Hammerstein being surrounded by his teammates on a big defensive play. Bradley didn't have a prayer as Hammerstein came in and hammered him.
Hammerstein's the leader on defense with tackles for losses. He came into the game with 12 tackles for losses, 5 quarterback sacks. He's had 2 today, so that gives him 14 tackles for losses for Michigan to lead that outstanding Michigan defense.
Dan Straczynski will be punting. He's had a big day in this department. This was another good one. Eric Campbell lets the ball skip into the end zone. It'll be brought out to the 20-yard line.
I think he lost it in the sun.
Yeah, I believe that. It's a bright, bright day here in Ann Arbor. Not a cloud in the sky. He was looking directly into the sun and let it skip into the end zone. So the Wolverines will have it on their own 20-yard line with 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the third quarter. Michigan leading Indiana by a score of 25-15. Harbaugh has broken Michigan's single-game passing record with 280 yards. It was held by Chris Zurbrugg against Purdue last year. 259 yards accumulated by Chris. Morris still struggling all the way out to the 39.5-yard line. Steve May finally hauled him down, but Jamie Morris was not to be denied and picks another first down up for the University of Michigan.
Just an outstanding day for Jamie Morris. Big holes in that line of scrimmage. You see there, you can get a Mack truck through there, but once he gets in that secondary, he knows how to run with the football, and you can see he's struggling for every single yard he can pick up.
50 seconds left in the third quarter. Wolverines with another first down. This is White, met right at the line of scrimmage and wrapped up at the 40.5-yard line. A gain of about a yard. Van Wait made the tackle for Indiana. With 30 seconds left in the third quarter, Michigan leads at 25-15. Michigan has scored every possession here in this third quarter. Wolverines have 5 first downs rushing in the third quarter, just 4 in the first half. It was an aerial game that Michigan threw at Indiana in the first half. It's been a ground attack here in the second. And again, it's Jamie Morris with a big hole out across the 45 and to the 50-yard line and inside Indiana territory. Another first down for Michigan. Rob Van Fleet made the tackle on Jamie Morris, who traversed all the way to the 49-yard line in Indiana territory. And there'll be 2 ticks left on the clock in the third period. 155 yards for this fella, who's going to take a breather and gets a round of applause from the Michigan fans as he comes to the sidelines. And that is the end of the third quarter here at Michigan Stadium. With the Wolverines snapping a 15-15 halftime tie, Michigan now has put 10 on the board while blanking the Hoosiers through the third quarter. And the third period ends with the score of 25-15. Wolverines lead the Hoosiers. We'll be back with a final period of action from Ann Arbor in just a moment on Pro-Am Sports Franklin at Michigan Stadium. The Wolverines turn Jamie Morris loose again, and he has another first down to the 38.5-yard line. Rob Van Vliet again made the tackle on Jamie, but the Wolverines pick up another first down in Indiana territory. We're in the early seconds of the final quarter in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with the Wolverines leading the Hoosiers 25-15. And Morris comes to the near sideline, replaced by Thomas Wilcher. Michigan out-rushing the Hoosiers and leading by 10. Jokic split to the right. Kolesar flank to the left. On first down and 10. Wilcher carries, and he is cut down as he hit the line of scrimmage, fell forward to the 35-yard line. Brad Mitchell made the tackle for Indiana. Now the Wolverines, after a sluggish first quarter, have come bouncing back like the basketball, coming in strong in the second quarter and dominating the third period. Jamie Morris has gone back to the ball game, and Tom Wilcher is out. So Bo Schembechler has to feel a little bit better about his club here in the second half. Second down and 6. Harbaugh back to throw over the middle. It goes. It was behind Jokic, the intended receiver, and falls incomplete. Paul was crossing from the outside toward the inside at the 18-yard line. It was thrown behind him, and Paul is a little slow in getting up.
That play is called a throwback pass because the quarterback sprints one way, this time to his left, and throws back to his right. Jokic was not really that open. There was good coverage on him, but the short receiver on the throwback was Jamie Morris, and had Harbaugh spotted him, he would have probably picked up at least the first down and possibly a touchdown.
Wiggins has come into the ball game. You see what the Wolverines have done in the passing department. It has been sensational this afternoon. On third down, on the draw, it's given to White. He's across the 30, first down to the 23-yard line. Good looking play. Leonard Bell made the tackle on Gerald White, who burst up the middle, and it's a good call from the side.
Very good call, and the reason why it worked is because it was set up. They've been passing a lot on third down, and this is the first time that they've gone to the draw, and it was really set up by the excellent passing offense that they've shown this afternoon.
Higgins has come into the ball game replacing Paul Jokic, who may have twisted an ankle on that play just prior to the last one. Now Morris is back in, operating at tailback, replacing Wilcher. It's a first down for the Wolverines at the Indiana 24. Morris squirts through across the 20 to about the 19-yard line. Mike McCurry made the tackle for Indiana. It is short of the 19. But nevertheless, a gain of about 5 yards for Jamie Morris. Bob Perryman comes into the ball game for the Wolverines now, and he will replace Morris at the tailback slot. Morris has carried the ball 22 times for 170 yards today. Colazar flanked to the left. Higgins split to the right for the Wolverines on second down. Pitch back to White. Got the running room. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Michigan. The Wolverines have moved in front 31-15 with 12:29 left in the ball game. And Mike Gillette will try to make it 32. Higgins providing a big block in springing Gerald White for the 6. It's up and it is good. And the Wolverines now lead Indiana 32-15 with 12:29 left in the ball game.
Excellent blocking on that option play, Larry. There was a couple of outstanding blocks. I thought Eric Caddis, it was either 81 or 31, but you'll see a block down here. Harbaugh does a good job of pitching out. There's a block right there. I think it was the tight end, Eric Caddis. And then Colazar right there, number 40, was downfield blocking his man. So it was just an outstanding block, a well-blocked play. And Higgins got the first one. Here, it's Eric Caddis, number 81, gets that block right there. And then there's another great block downfield by Colazar, number 40. As White does an outstanding job of running that ball.
So the Wolverines have scored on every possession here in the second half. And have built a 32-15 lead over Indiana with 12:29 left in the ball game. Rick Sutkowitz will kick off for the Wolverines. Damon Sweezy is the deep man. Standing at the goal line. And Sutkowitz kicks it to Sweezy, who fields it and will down it in the Indiana end zone. Well, the Wolverines, who scored 33 against Wisconsin, 34 against South Carolina, and 31 against MSU, have 32 on the board with 12.5 minutes left in this one.
And really, Larry, if you think about it, they've only stopped themselves all afternoon. It's hard to say how many points they really could have scored had they played perfect football in the first half.
They took 3 minutes and 39 seconds to travel 80 yards for the latest touchdown. Your point is well taken. The turnovers in the first quarter hurt the Wolverines, but they came bouncing back and have established a commanding lead now in the early stages of the fourth quarter. And Bradley goes back to throw, fires to the far side. It's incomplete. It was intended for Kenny Allen, and he was drilled by Tony Gadd as the ball arrived, went sailing over his outstretched fingertips, and it's 2nd down and 10. Well, it looks like it's going to be a great homecoming celebration this evening in Ann Arbor. I'm sure you'll go straight home and get a nap so that you're ready to hit all of the parties. Ernie Jones flanked wide to the right. Bradley on the draw, hit behind the line of scrimmage, and Damon Swayze goes nowhere. He gets back to about the 19-yard line. Mike Hammerstein came knifing through and hit him initially. Swayze finally got back to the 19, but it's a loss of a yard, and it'll be 3rd and 11. The Wolverine defensive unit has just shut down the Hoosiers in this second half. Ernie Jones comes wide to the right. They have Allen split to the left. Scott Bradley, one of the premier passers in the Big Ten, back to throw. He's hit and he's dropped for a loss back at the 11-yard line. Steve Bradley had nobody to throw the ball to. Mark Messner came in, hit him, and dropped him for a loss back at the 11. So a great collaboration by the Michigan secondary, plus the rush from that forward wall spells Punt City.
Good penetration by the defensive line. Mark Messner that time, who had 5 quarterback sacks coming into the game, that tied him with Mike Hammerstein. They both came up with big plays on that series.
The punt is away, and it's a good one. Eric Campbell retreats to his own 37. Comes out to the 40, gets a block, turns upfield the 50, down to the 40, and drilled out of bounds at the 35-yard line. He utilized the block at his own 45-yard line beautifully. It was hidden by the on-charging Hoosiers, and suddenly knifed to his left for big yardage.
And the cut inside is what really sets this up. When he touches on his own man there, everybody collided thinking that he was going to head that way. Then he bounced outside and picked up excellent yardage. Nice return.
All the way down to the Indiana 35-yard line. Tom Wilcher is into the ball game now for the Wolverines. Carried by Bob Perryman to the 31-yard line. Tackle made by Weidenbender and Brad Mitchell. They'll place it at the 32-yard line. A gain of about 2 yards, 2nd down and 8. Things have sort of come unglued for the Hoosiers, who played a strong first half, taking advantage of a couple of early breaks. But now, as you see, Paul Jokic getting some congratulations and words of knowledge on the sideline. Wilcher hurdles over all the way down to the 25-yard line, and he'll be short of a first down by less than a yard. Minutes, 56 seconds. The clock is running. That is the time remaining in this ball game at Michigan Stadium.
Wilcher that time just kind of hurdled over the offensive line. Just kind of flying through the air. Great effort.
Jamie Morris is back into the ball game, operating at tailback with Perryman as the fullback. Colasar is flanked to the right. Harbaugh pitches back to Morris, comes to his left, cuts to his right, dives to the 26-yard line. He's going to be short of a first down, I think.
Yep.
And it was Dan Bauer that made the tackle. Well, this big Michigan crowd wants the Wolverines to go for it on 4th down and less than a yard to go. It's inside the 26-yard line, and that is what Bo Schembechler and his staff has decided to do. Higgins goes wide to the right as the wide receiver. The ends are tight. Perryman is the fullback. Morris the tailback. Quarterback sneak by Harbaugh is sufficient for the first down yardage to about the 24-yard line.
Good surge that time by the offensive line. You could see them just push back the defensive line from Indiana.
So the Wolverines pick up still another first down at the 24-yard line. It's the 8th first down rushing this half for Michigan. Kolazar goes to the far side as a wide receiver. The ends are tight on first down. Harbaugh fakes the handoff. Back to throw to the side. It is incomplete, intended for Perryman at the 17-yard line, but it was thrown a little wide, and Robert didn't have a chance. I love his hometown, Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts. Got a nice ring, doesn't it?
Yes, it's out on the East Coast. Haven't you been there?
Yeah, I've been to Massachusetts. I haven't been to Buzzards Bay, but I really appreciate your knowledge of the geography. 8.5 minutes left to be played in this ball game. Michigan with a commanding 32-15 advantage. Kolazar wide to the right. Higgins split to the left. This is Morris. He's got a hole across the 20 to the 19-yard line. Jamie Morris hauled down by Van Waiters. He is at the 174-yard mark. Jamie Morris on 24 carries.
And Jamie goes off tackle once again. Well, it's actually like a draw play, a delayed handback, and he picks up some more good yardage. But since Harbaugh had broken a record passing here, I was looking at the records to see if Morrison was approaching a record for rushing yardage.
And you found out?
Ron Johnson has 347 yards for the record.
That's quite a few, isn't it?
Got to go away.
Harbaugh back to throw. Caught by Morris at the 17-yard line. It's a gain of only a yard or two, and Michigan is faced with a fourth down situation. Alex Green made the tackle. 347 yards by Ron Johnson against Wisconsin in 1968. He also had a 270-yarder against Navy the year before. Try for three by Mike Gillette. It'll be a 34-yard attempt. Ball is down, kick is up, looks good, and it is good. The Wolverines put three more on the board and lead 35-15 with 7 minutes and 10 seconds left to be played in this game, and the Wolverines have scored on every possession here in this second half. It has been quite an awesome display, both defensively and offensively, by the University of Michigan here in the second half.
In the second half, Larry, they clearly showed their dominance and the fact that they are the fourth-ranked team in the country coming into this particular game, and they sort of separated themselves from the mediocre Michigan team that they were in the first half to the dominant Michigan team in the second half.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of Pro-Am Sports System and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our past subscribers. Any use or reproduction of this broadcast without the express written consent of Pro-Am Sports is strictly prohibited. 7 minutes, 10 seconds remain to be played in this game. Michigan has broken a 15-15 halftime tie, scoring 20 unanswered points here in the second half to build a 35-15 lead. Deep man is Damon Swayze. And here's the kick. It's another long one into the end zone, and Swayze will down it there. And you can give a little credit to Rick Sutkowitz, who has been booming the ball on these kickoffs, allowing absolutely no returns. Washington and Swayze both with a 20-yard average in kickoff returns this season have just been shut down as a result of the long kicks.
There's no better defense against a kickoff return specialist than to be able to have a kicker that's blessed with a strong enough leg to kick the ball through the end zone.
Jones is split wide to the right. Allen to the left. Handoff to Pulse, and he's got about 3 yards out to the 23, perhaps the 24-yard line. And he is hit and dropped there by the Wolverines. The latest scoring drive for Michigan took 7 plays, traveling 18 yards, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. A 34-yard field goal by Gillette to make it 35-15. Second down, 6 yards to go for the Hoosiers. Allen is split to the right. Jones flanked to the left. Bradley throws to the near side. It is caught there by Gary Allen, and he is spun around and dropped at the 30-yard line by Garland Rivers. It is close to a first down, and from here it appears that it is a first down. It is. Just across the 30-yard line.
Nice single coverage that time by Garland Rivers, the junior out of Canton, Ohio. Fourth leading tackler on this Michigan defensive team.
The 89th Michigan homecoming. The Wolverines have won their last 12 and are in pretty good shape of winning 13 in a row. First and 10 for the Hoosiers. Bradley back to throw. Throws over the middle, and it is caught by Howard, and he is shoved all the way back to the 30-yard line. They'll mark his forward progress as 34.5. McIntyre came through and made the tackle. And one other thing that has happened that is good, particularly for the Wolverines in the late stages, Bo Schembechler is able to use a little more talent on the defensive unit
and give some of the new players playing experience. It's very valuable to be able to have depth, as we talked about in the first half in terms of the offense, but it's important on defense as well.
On 2nd and 5, quick pass over the middle, incomplete, intended for Dave Loggia, who had it for a moment, but Doug Mallory drilled in there, and the ball popped free from David's grasp. Now Indiana is looking at a 3rd and long situation. 3rd and 6. Ernie Jones coming in from the far sideline with a play, has relayed it to Steve Bradley. As Indiana huddles at the 25, comes to the line of scrimmage. Bradley has hit 10 of 19 for 85 yards this afternoon. He's back to try again, but he is under big pressure, unloads, and it is no. It looks as though it may be intercepted. It is intercepted by Schulte. The official coming from the far side had ruled it an incompleted forward pass, but it looked as though he had his hands on the ball when he hit the turf, and he did indeed. And the Wolverines take over again.
Once again, it's a tip drill that we talk about so much for defensive players. Somebody's going to tip the ball as Bradley is being pressured by David Chester, and the ball is tipped. Todd Schulte, number 41, found it in the air and made the interception. Nice play.
Well, the Wolverines have it again at the Indiana 41-yard line. Wolverines turned it over twice in the first quarter. Indiana took advantage and scored both times, a field goal and a touchdown. Since that time, the Wolverines have played without committing a turnover. Zurbrugg is in at quarterback now, hands to Wilcher, who went straight over the middle, and he got down to the 35.5-yard line, make it to 36. Chris Zurbrugg, a sophomore from Alliance, Ohio, 6'1", 192, has not seen much action this season, has thrown just 4 passes, has completed a couple of them.
He got a lot of experience last year when Harbaugh was injured against Michigan State, and I believe the 4th game of the season. So he's been in there and under fire before. So this is good additional game experience for Chris Zurbrugg.
Wilcher operating out of the tailback slot after a long and highly successful afternoon by Jamie Morris. Pitch going back to Wilcher. Gets across the 35, coughed up the football. It goes out of bounds, but it will be Michigan's ball, I believe it will. So another 10 yards picked up following the fumble, went out of bounds before Indiana could get to it, and the Michigan Wolverines retain possession on the 26.
And somebody's still down on the turf.
Looks like it's Thomas Wilcher who is down. He was the man that carried the ball, and when he was drilled, lost it, fumbled it forward, but the Wolverines will retain possession. It went out of bounds at the 26.
He picked up 10 yards, probably on the fumble. You'll see here, Tom Wilcher got great speed. He's probably the fastest guy on the team, or certainly one of the fastest. And I think the player bouncing on top of him once he was down probably hurt him in his back or something. But Tom is a junior out of Detroit, Michigan, runs very hard, and you can see here, it's hard to say what part of his body is injured, but I'm sure the big guy coming over and bouncing on top of him may have hurt his knee or his back, possibly. You see there, he's holding his side.
Well, Houts came in from the back side, and he may have gotten him with a helmet also. He was off balance and hit him, looks like, in the ribs. And Thomas is going to be a sore young fellow this evening. We have 4 minutes, 32 seconds left in the ball game. There's Zurbrugg. Webb has come in to replace Morris. Wiltshire at the tailback slot. But they're set as setbacks now. As Zurbrugg pitches back to Webb, coming to the left side, the 20, spins the 15, and he is down at the 11-yard line. Jeff Wade made the tackle on Webb, who carried for another Michigan first down.
Webb, number 46, is going to get this option play and turn it upfield. He appears to have fairly good speed.
Phil Webb is a sophomore from Romeo, Michigan.
Here you'll take a ground view. Webb does a nice job of carrying and turning the ball upfield.
This time it's Perryman, and he shoves forward down to the 6-yard line. 4 minutes left in the ball game. Bob Perryman carries to the 6, where it'll be second down, and about 4 yards to go for the first down. Make it 5. Wolverines can pick up a first down without scoring on this trip. Campbell goes wide to the right as the wide receiver. The ends are tight. Perryman set as a fullback. Phil Webb as the tailback. Zurbrugg under the center, waiting to snap. Turn, slides down the left side. He's at the 5. Dives, touchdown, Michigan.
No signal.
Nope. Yes,
no official signal.
That's about as close to the goal line as you can get without scoring. The old announcer got the adrenaline flowing and called it a little early.
Very important 7 points here.
Yeah.
You'll see Chris Zurbrugg. He makes the right decision by cutting up inside. There was too much penetration on the outside. He cuts back inside, and you'll see right here that I think he was a little short. Good call by the official.
So it's first and goal from, the 6-inch line. Zurbrugg shoves forward. Still no signal. And apparently Chris did not get in.
Yep, still no touchdown.
2 minutes and 48 seconds left in the ball game. Wolverines leading by 35-15.
Very difficult to quarterback sneak down on the goal line because it's hard to get a surge, particularly if you're the quarterback, because if you take a quarterback sneak, you only go as far as your offensive line, and if they're unable to get that surge off the line of scrimmage, then you go nowhere.
How about Webb over the top here?
Webb over the top is a lot easier because he'll have a chance to jump.
How about Webb going to the unprotected right end? Touchdown, Michigan. Bill Webb going in to up the Michigan lead to 41-15 with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in the ball game, and the Wolverines continue to keep that streak alive of having scored in every possession here in the final quarter. In the final half, actually. Mike Gillette will attempt to put the 42 on the board for the Wolverines. There's the spot. The kick is up, and it is good. So Michigan leads Indiana 42-15 with 2 minutes 15 seconds left in the ball game. And after A standoff in the first half, 15-15. The halftime score. The Wolverines have just blown them out here in the final half.
And they were denied the touchdown on the inside play. On the quarterback sneak, decided to come back and option outside and get the 6 points. Nice call, good play, good series, good drive by Zurbrugg, who really engineered that entire series of downs, showing that Michigan does have a little depth at quarterback, unlike last year once Harbaugh was hurt. Zurbrugg was put in a situation where he had no game experience, and today he's able to get back in the game and get a feel for the offense.
I would like to remind you, coming up immediately following today's game, it'll be exciting harness racing action as we go across the border to Windsor Raceway in Ontario for a complete recap of the day's racing action. The executive producer of Pro-Am Sports is William Glenn. The senior producer of College Football 85, Michael Smith. Today's telecast was produced and directed by Jerry Hausfeld. Our associate producers are Jim Holly and Michael Andro. Our production coordinator, Christine Accavetti, and a special thanks to all the other technical people working on today's game who brought you such outstanding coverage. Here's a kickoff, goes into the end zone, and Swayze will down it there. We'd also like to thank Jim Schneider for doing an outstanding job in handling the statistics this afternoon, and our stellar spotter, Bob Burns, for, again, doing a great job for us on that end of the telecast. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left. Michigan leads Indiana 42-15. And the Wolverines are about to bump their win-loss record to 6-1 overall and 3-1 in the Big Ten, while Indiana will drop to 4-3 overall and 1-4 in the league. A 7-play drive covering 41 yards. Webb going in from 1 yard out for the latest score, and the Wolverine defensive unit continues to crack them in the backfield. Schulte made the tackle for the University of Michigan on Spud Washington, who is seeing his action as a running back for the first time this afternoon.
We've seen him on kickoff returns, but not from the offensive formation or the tailback position.
And a new quarterback also. Brian DeWitz is in, operating the team at quarterback for Indiana.
DeWitz from Massillon, Ohio.
Big football country.
That's where I'm from.
Big deal.
I love it.
DeWitt's in trouble, and he's out at the 10-yard line. You know I'm kidding you, don't you?
That's quite all right, Larry. You'll get yours.
They have overcome your play at Massillon, Ohio to rebuild the program.
I would hope so. That's been a long time ago.
A minute 9 left to be played in the ball game. And it's 3rd down and 20 for Indiana, who gave a valiant effort in the first half, but it's just too much Wolverines here in the second half. Tony Buford is flanked wide to the right. DeWitt turns, gives the ball to Spud Washington. He gets out to about the 12-yard line, and Hood made the tackle for the Wolverines at the 12. You can see not much time remaining in this 1985 homecoming game in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It has been a very fruitful afternoon for the Wolverines. And, of course, Bo will have something to talk to the troops about when they return to gather tomorrow afternoon.
To watch the film.
20 seconds left in the ball game. Indiana getting its punting unit on. Dan Krasinski will be kicking from his own end zone. John Colazar is back on the Michigan 43. Here's the punt. And a fair catch called for and taken by Colazar at the 48-yard line in Indiana territory with 4 seconds left in the game. Time for Chris Zurbrugg to put his knee on the ground, and that'll be the end of the 1985 game. This huge crowd of 105,000 starting to file out of this massive stadium in Ann Arbor. Now they're going to pitch it out. And that's the end of the ball game. University of Michigan scoring a very impressive 42-15 victory. Very impressive second half performance after the first half perhaps was a little bit shaky, but as far as balanced play offensively and defensively, Michigan really put it together in the second half, scoring on every possession with the exception of this last one.
Yeah, I think it really came through in the end, Larry, that Michigan was a very superior football team. They just made too many mistakes in the first half, and they cleaned up their act in the second half, played flawless football in terms of no real turnovers, no big mistakes that I can recall, and scored a lot of points.
They snapped the 15-15 halftime tie. The Wolverines coming back, shut down Indiana completely offensively, got their own offense moving, kept the sound defense, and it results in a 42-15 victory for the University of Michigan as the Wolverines and the Hoosiers file into the tunnel across the way, and this huge crowd at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor starts to head on home. Our final score, Michigan 42, Indiana 15. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment on Pro-Am at Michigan Stadium, where the Wolverines have recorded the 1985 homecoming victory over the upstarts from Indiana, 42-15, after the Hoosiers had battled Michigan to a 15-15 standoff at halftime. The Wolverines completely dominated the second half of play, and in the final statistics, the Wolverines 593 total yards.
Just an impressive display of talent offensively by the Wolverines, Larry. They had some problems in the first half in terms of making a lot of mistakes, but they went error-free in the second half and were very impressive and were able to widen the score. In fact, not even allowing Indiana to score any more points once they came back out to play in the second half.
Here's the second touchdown of the second half for the Wolverines.
Great blocking on this play. Watch number 81 right there. Eric Caddis gets the first block, and Kolazar, number 40, gets the second as Gerald White goes in for the touchdown.
Gillette kicked the extra point, and the Wolverines led 32-15, and really all the question was then what the final score might be. The Wolverines came back with a field goal by Gillette, 34-yarder. And then very nearly scored on this play by the new quarterback, Chris Zurbrugg.
This is a very important play for a lot of people in terms of the spread, and Zurbrugg came up short. It was a good mark, I thought, by the official. If when we saw the replay in slow motion, he was definitely short of the goal line.
Little defensive play for the Wolverines.
Mark Hammerstein this time coming in, making another big play. He led the team in tackles for losses, coming into the game with 12. He picked up 3 today, so that gives him 15 for the season.
And Jamie Morris had a sensational day. He rushed for a net total of 179 yards, including leads.
Just an outstanding day for Jamie Morris. He picked his way through the line of scrimmage, watched the blocking, made the right cuts, and just had a super day, and really the reason why Michigan was so successful on offense.
So the Wolverines, with a very exciting second half, roll to victory over the visitors from Indiana University en route to another victory, bouncing back from the disappointing loss of Iowa, and keep their Rose Bowl hopes alive with a win over Indiana here in homecoming afternoon in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So the Wolverines will get set now for their next date. Indiana has now lost 3 in a row after winning 4 straight, and the Hoosiers will have to regroup just a bit. That's about it from Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor this afternoon. We remind you to stay with us now. Coming up next, it's exciting harness racing action from Windsor Raceway in Ontario, featuring a complete recap of today's racing action. Then be sure to join us tomorrow evening, beginning at 7:30 for more great college football action as the Eastern Michigan Hurons clash with the Central Michigan Chippewas in a Mid-American Conference game from Mount Pleasant, Michigan. That will immediately be followed with all of your favorite action as Pass presents Trackside at Ladbroke DRC. Now for Dennis Franklin, this is Larry Osterman saying so long from Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. Again, the final score of this afternoon's game, the University of Michigan 42, Indiana 15.